Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Westman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on Crime and Sports this week. You've picked a wonderful week to listen to us because not only do we have an insane episode, as we always do, a lot of fun, but this week we have this year's Scummie Awards. The pageantry, the black tie. I'm in my tux and black tie. Jimmy's in the black tie. The dogs are all dressed up. Sarah's in a lovely ball gown. It's really it's an event. It's an event.
I like the ripped sleeves on Benny.
Well, you know, Benny. He's kind of a
he's a big dog.
He's a big dog. His shoulders are kind of jacked for his shirt, so he's got to rip them off.
I don't think that jacket was supposed to fit him.
No, it's not, and that's he looks tough though. That's what's important. Good for him. But thank you once again for joining us. Like I said, crazy episode this week. It's kind of our anniversary episode as we do the Scummies on there.
Yeah,
and this is our third annual Scummies. Wow. We've done something here. Let's do that. And before we get to all that, just want to first thank everyone for your reviews this week on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, the purple icon there, or wherever you may have put a review in. Thank you. Those really, really help us. They go a long way to push people up the charts of, like we said, Apple Podcasts or anywhere. The reviews always weigh heavy. So if you can give a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, do that. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Just say you're following instructions, following directions. It's not for our ego.
Right.
It is just for business purposes, and we are sorry we have to ask you to do it, damn it. But we do. Also,
very regretful.
You know, I hate to bother people. It takes 30 seconds.
It's annoying, I know.
But it helps us a lot, so thank you. Also, you can go to shutupandgivememurder.com.
You can.
Head on over there for everything crime and sports, and of course, Small Town Murder, which I'm sure you listen to. If you don't listen to it, I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
The Small Town Murder is awesome, but definitely listen to that. You can get live tickets to live shows for Small Town Murder, including the one right now coming up very soon, next week, February 21st, West Palm Beach, Florida, the West Palm Improv. Get your asses down there to see us because we're going to have a wild time. Live Small Town Murder. We have the case too, and it's a crazy, insane case, and it's a lot of fun. So come on down and check that out. Also, get all your merchandising needs there. Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder t-shirts and mugs and leggings. The leggings are here, everybody. Absolutely. So leggings, very important. People have been wanting leggings very, very badly. So they're on there. You can get all of those things on there. You can find us and everything. Another thing you can do, you can be one of our heroes. You can be one of our wonderful, fabulous, incredible producers who we are, of course, going to talk about right after the Scummies. They're amazing people. They're the lifeblood of this damn show. So thank you, everybody, for that. You're going to hear about that. And if you'd like to be a producer, one of this wonderful group of excellent supporters of our show, you can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports or heading over to PayPal. Use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com, and you can get there through our Shut Up and Give Me Murder. Also, there's links to get to those places.
Right.
You want to do it all from one place.
Patreon doesn't like us very much.
It's hard to search for us because we are on the not safe for work list, even though there are much worse shows, horrible shows on there that are about nothing but semen.
Right.
And they're
so safe.
That's fine. That's safe for work. But we are assholes apparently, so that's fine.
Whatever.
I don't think last podcast on the left was on there. It's like, come on, there's dirtier than us. Give me a goddamn break.
Absolutely.
Here. Fuck, man.
I think there's dead baby jokes and shit like that.
Everywhere. Well, I mean, they're talking about serial killers all the time, so it's got to be... It's
just as bad or worse.
Shit. So who cares? Whatever. But that's fine. Without further ado, we have got a doozy of an episode. And of course, the Scummies, which it's even hard to concentrate on an episode with these Scummies looming, knowing how wonderful they are and in my tie and everything like that. But let's get to it because we have to. our honoree of the week here is Chuck Knoblauch, everybody.
Oh, wonderful.
We know Chuck Knoblauch, the little second baseman from the 90s in baseball, and he's had some issues, and we've all seen him around. Oh, he's had issues on and off the field. Edward Charles Knoblauch.
First name Edward.
First name Edward, named after his uncle.
Yeah.
And goes by Chuck, though.
Yeah.
Let's go for the Chuckster.
That's as Chuck as it gets.
Chuck.
He looks like a Chuck. Yeah.
He really does. Flat top looking guy.
Very just a quintessential 80s and 90s white guy.
This is the fall of a Boy Scout, this thing.
Oh, really?
His whole life, we'll talk about it, he's the coach's son. He has to do everything perfect.
Really?
He's this very clean-cut, regimented, perfect. Everybody talks about fundamentals. His fundamentals are great. His fundamentals. And then just out of nowhere, like things start to fall apart on the field, and it leaks into off the field, and it's just... Fuck, man, it's the fall of somebody, and it's a mental fall is really what it is, because it's not really drug induced it's a mental fall of
just a breakdown.
It's so strange, man. This is one of the weirdest things we've ever encountered. Like usually there's like, well, that's the factor. Here there's like, well, what's the factor? It just happens. It's such a mess. This mess started all the way back on July 7th, 1968 in Houston, Texas. He's born, and he grows up in Texas. And very Texas kind of guy. There's family too. His father is an ex minor league baseball player and high school baseball coach. He coaches the local high school's baseball team. So, baseball's a big deal in this household right away. I mean, Chuck is immediately into baseball.
It's hilarious. He's got a flat top, and his name's Chuck.
And
if you looked at that guy
Texas.
and you told somebody that his name was Chuck, you'd be like, "Where is he born? Where did he grow up?"
Come on.
It's fucking Texas.
Texas. No, Texas. I was gonna say Arkansas. You almost had me, but I think it's Texas. I'm not gonna lie. That's what he looks like, though. He really does. And his father comes from a clean-cut family. His mother is Linda. His father is Ray. Ray Knoblauch, the coach there. And he comes from a big family, a lot of kids here, 4 girls and 2 boys.
Jesus.
That's a 6. We got a Brady Bunch situation with an extra girl here.
Dick.
Ray is laying down the cock from a young age, just pumping him out. And I have a feeling he needed some more boys. He's like, pumping pumping him out. And
Linda's pumping him out.
Out and in. So, he's pumping it out too, technically. Pumping it out and in and out again.
In case you guys don't know how babies are made.
In case you were wondering. Sorry if we spoiled it for any kids out there. Hey, if you're under the age of 11, probably don't listen, I would say at that point. Because we got a big Santa Claus section later we want you to hear. So it's going to be rough for you. Let's just say that. So there's 2 boys. It's Chuck and his brother Mark. Now Chuck grows up to be 5'8". He is that makes sense. He's a tiny guy in the world of professional sports. I mean, when you see him walking off the field with everybody else, you're like, holy shit, that guy's little. I mean, that's the first thing. If you say Chuck Knoblauch to anybody who remembers him, they go, little guy. Like, that's the first thing anyone remembers about him. Listen to this shit. His brother, Mark, is 6'5".
Why?
Dude, that would be like if me and you were brothers. Right. You'd be like, you would hate my guts. You're like, you're such a fucking asshole. Our whole lives. You'd be like, what happened? Why? What did I do?
Until we travel together, and then you're an asshole being comfortable.
Lord, why do you smite me? I'd be so upset. It's 5'8", my brother.
How do you get to...
Why?
What's his brother do?
It's not even close.
What's his brother do?
Different things. He plays ball for a while. He doesn't make the kind of money Chuck does, but he's still 6'5". You
He's
know,
not
Chuck
homeless.
is like, you fucking bastard. Has to. Yeah. And height is a big deal for him too, because he wants to be an athlete his whole life, and he's always the smallest kid. So that's always in his head. Like,
and then hanging around all the guys that are in the majors too.
Yeah,
he's still the fucking little guy every day.
Always the little guy. Yeah, always. But that's the thing about baseball is you can be 5'8" and not like Chuck Knoblauch. He's pretty fast and he's pretty strong, but he's not like, he doesn't run a 4.2 40 or anything like that. But you you can be 5'8" and just have good enough skills and play professional baseball. Right. There's no other sport like that. In football, if you're 5'8", you better run a fucking 4.3 40. At least you're going to get killed.
And if you're fast as shit, you'll play.
You'll play.
You'll certainly play
until you're broken.
Until a big guy grabs a hold of you.
And in basketball, if you're 5'8", you better be the most athletic guy. You got to have a 48-inch vertical jump.
There's like 4 of them in history.
People don't have, so it doesn't happen a lot. You know,
there's Earl Boykins. There's
Nate Robinson, Muggsy, Spud. I mean,
that's it.
There's a few.
Done.
And those are your short guys.
The rest, nobody gives a fuck about.
Yeah, those are the guys who
best guys.
That's it. So that's what happens. So in baseball, you have a chance. Lucky for him, his father's a baseball coach. Like we said, at 3 years old, he was the ball boy for his father's baseball team, the Bel Air Cardinals. They live in Bel Air, Texas. He says, quote, "I was born right into baseball," is what Chuck says, "and I developed a real love for it right away. I never needed to be forced to play." He was the type of kid who that's all he ever wanted to do. He said one of the first toys he ever remembers was a Johnny Bench batter up set. Yeah. Which these little, you hit it, and it had a bat and a tee and everything, and you hit the ball with a level swing, and if you hit it right, the arm of the batting tee would spin and throw another pitch. Yep. And if you didn't hit it, the arm would wobble and stop, and then you'd have to reset it, and it would give you a second to think about your swing.
It gives you a benefit to keep hitting.
Exactly. Right. So that's the way he did it, and I guess he got really good at it very, very young, and his swing always was very level. Okay. Even his stance was weird. He had this stance where he held the bat kind of back. He crouched down to nothing. Right. He's 5'8", he crouched down to about 4'7", and have the bat kind of lean him back and just swing this level swing.
Best of luck throwing strikes in this strike zone.
That's the thing. Right. And he was a tough at bat for that. His strike zone was non-existent, and he was really good at just flap, ball in the outside corner, just pop it off into the foul, foul it off and stay alive. Okay. He was really good at that. Okay. All those late 90s Yankees had this. Their whole thing was everybody have long at bats, and they'd wear a pitcher out by the fifth inning because every guy you're going deep in counts with,
you're getting them 9-10 pitches in.
They just had this thing of fouling pitches off. Paul O'Neill used to drive guys crazy with that shit. I remember my friend Rod telling me about it. Those guys were a pain in the ass in the late 90s. Told me about Bernie Williams fouling off about a dozen pitches off of him and then hitting a grand slam home run to dead center field on the 13th pitch. He's like, I threw 12 great pitches. He fouled them all off. Because that's the one. That's exactly where I want. He goes, I missed one by an inch, and he fucking put it in the seats. Son of a bitch. And it's, that's what happens.
That'd be the most frustrating position in all of baseball.
Closer, and then you got to leave. That's it. No chance to get it back. And then you walk off. You got to come back tomorrow and still think you're a badass. So that's what he did. And shrug it off.
And for him, going home was to the parking lot to his RV.
Oh no, that was in when he was, no, he had a house when he played when he was playing for the Red Sox.
Because it would hurt even more if you're just going out to the parking lot, climbing into a bunk.
He actually at that point had a house that shared a fence with Peter Gammons, which is interesting, of ESPN there.
How about baseball
guy. Yeah, he said that was like his Wilson.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Was fucking Peter Gammons over the fence. It's like that's a sitcom. Rod Beck and Peter Gammons with sharing a fence there. That's
guy trimming his head, just going, what happened last night?
Yeah, what's going on there? Rod going, fuck you, old man.
I saw 12 great pitches and one shitty one.
The
only one that counted was that shitty one.
That goddamn shitty one. Jesus Christ, that's so funny. And he would say that too. That's the thing. Like, he didn't give a shit. There was one time he told me where he played for the Cubs, and Mark Gray. It was a ground ball to first base to Mark Grace in the hole, and basically the runner beat Mark Grace going to the bag, and everybody on sports radio was giving Mark Grace shit, saying he was slow to get over to the bag. Yeah. And fucking Rod called in and said, actually, asshole, it was my fault. I'm the one who should have fucking covered the bag, and I got off the bag slow because I'm a fat fuck. That's what he said. He goes, I'm a fat fuck and was lazy on it and didn't realize it, and that's my fault. Stop blaming him for it. He fucking waited for me, saw I wasn't coming, and tried to save my ass by getting over there.
You guys better calm down. You're going to drive Gracie to drink.
I thought, and then drive. Watch out. You know what happens after that. Little gulp, gulp, beep, beep, and you're fucking everybody out of the way.
You're going to kill a teenager tonight.
Come on, fucking Billy Joel coming through. It's bad times.
You're arming Gracie with a pint of vodka.
Terrible. So But enough of that, Rod. I don't know why we're talking about him.
Sorry.
But it's fun. No, because it's fun. It's a fun story. So apparently Chuck took batting practice all the time, like with his dad's team when he was a kid. He would do that. He would field hundreds and hundreds of grounders that his dad would hit. His dad would just hit him grounder after grounder after grounder. Because
awesome.
He's a small guy, so he's got to be able to, get grounders. And plus fundamentals, you got to be able to get a ground ball, number one.
That's a fun time for Dad.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
He's just got to drill balls to the outfield. That's great.
The infield, just knocking ground balls out. Yeah. When he was 10, his father built him a mound in the backyard so he could practice pitching. And Chuck said, quote, I didn't throw hard, but I eventually could throw a pretty decent curve. But he's kind of small. You got to have a hell of an arm to be a pitcher at 5'8". You got to be like a Pedro Martinez type. And he's not that type. He's not that type. Absolutely. He said he was always the smallest kid in class. He was very competitive, though, everybody said. And his father was huge into discipline. And he said that he was even though he was the smallest kid among kids his age, he would play with older kids all the time because he was really good. It didn't matter. He said, quote, I was always playing with guys physically stronger and more developed than I was. I always had to fight just to keep up. So he's never like the kid who, the one kid in the Little League who's, way better than everybody else, and he's romping on shitty kids. Right. That was never him. He was always, not that type. He was a shortstop in Little League. Ozzie Smith was his favorite player. He had posters of Ozzie Smith all over the place and shit like that about him. He said he tried to imitate him. He said, quote, I remember once I heard that he took 200 ground balls a day, so I took exactly 200 grounders too.
Holy shit.
So that was his, he wanted to.
Is that what Ozzie Smith did?
I guess so. That's what he said back in the day.
I believe Ozzie Smith had a junior.
Ozzie Smith, he does have a junior. Yeah, he does have a junior. Well, wait, more developing on that, I'm sure.
Jesus.
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there will be. I'm saying he's a junior, so we can't trust anything that happens there. So Ray Knoblauch, his father, was the coach of the Bel Air High School team also from 1961 to 1986. Oh. So
holy shit, that's 25 years.
Yeah, he's the town's baseball coach, plain and simple.
God, Jesus, that's a long time.
That's a long time. And his record, 598 and 225.
Pretty decent,
which is really good for baseball. That's like 750. That's
especially
goddamn good.
In high school.
Oh, that's dominating. He won 4 state titles in Texas, which is a big sports state anyway. And he was a minor league pitcher, and he had an elbow injury, so he became a coach and just played some whatever semi-pro shit on the side and all that kind of crap.
It's impressive.
Yeah, more than fucking anyone I know. I don't know. Nobody in my family played. And he played in the minors and coached for 25 years. Yeah. So Ray's coaching philosophy was he said, to play for me, you must be serious about the game, which means always work hard as well as maintaining your intensity and concentration. Apparently, there's a lot of stories about Ray doing some crazy coach shit, some Bear Bryant insanity.
Boy, really?
Ordering some kid to hit the track after just fucking up a play and telling him not to come back and quote until I tell you so. Just keep running for the worst indeterminate amount of time, which sounds awful.
In Texas,
just keep running in the summer and baseball season. Right. Keep running. No, I don't know. You need a goal.
That's attempted murder in Arizona.
That is. That'll get you put away. That's 10 to 15 years for that shit right there. But Chuck said that Ray, he just remembered him being very private. He didn't really show any emotion either on the field or at home, or he just was like a kind of a stern Texas dad. Yeah. He was like, this is a 60s Texas dad. Right. He's not going to be all touchy-feely, wishy-washy for the most part. And he was an athlete, too. He wasn't like that. Even Chuck said quote, for 4 years we rode together to high school. We'd spend the 15 minutes in the car, mostly without ever exchanging a word. So
that is comfortable.
They're just silence. Yeah,
that sounds great.
He's just that sounds great. His dad sounds like a wonderful Uber driver.
Right.
I'd like to find out his area and hopefully get him, because that's pretty solid right there.
I'd like to find out how Mr. Knoblauch got that kid to shut the fuck up for 5 minutes.
Amazing. So
15 minutes.
He's a flat top kind of quiet kid. Chuck's the same way. He's kind of a quiet, reserved kind of guy. Really? He's a little bit like his dad in a lot of ways when it comes to that type of shit. But that's kind of that old-timey, just like,
I'd love to go 15 minutes without hearing the phrase, no, it's not, or no, I'm not, or no, you're not.
Yeah.
No, whatever, not. If I hear that one more time from my back fucking seat, I'm going to drive it off a cliff.
No, it's true. This was a high school kid too, so it's a little different. Point. He's 15 years old or whatever. Like my daughter, I like driving her to school. We have fun talks about shit and conversations and laugh and stuff. But like this,
that seems foreign to you?
This is very Texas. Yeah, I feel like,
or just dad that's not necessarily absent, but just unless it's baseball, don't fucking talk to him.
He's an old timey dad. Yeah. I feel like he's like, it's queer to talk to your kids. You know what I mean? Like that's probably what he said. Talk to my kids. What? Nah, I ain't no queer. Talking to my son. Next thing I'm going to jerk him off. What the hell else you want?
Leans over. Hey, Daddy, I'm not gay.
What do you think? Best not take that penis out, boy, because I will knock it right off of you. Start out talking, next thing you know, you're sucking each other off. That's how it works. I know. I've seen movies.
That's how I got these kids.
That's how I got them all. So, yeah, this is for fear of...
for fear of fucking a kid, there was no talking.
His latent homosexuality, to keep it at bay, no talking. I'm none. We have no evidence of that whatsoever. For all I know, his dad spent 25 years around young men and never touched or even had any inappropriate anything with them. This is not about his dad.
It's an hysterical thought that's the reason he didn't talk, though.
I will say it is hilarious. We'll leave it at that. The fact
Go on, Ray.
Fucking funny. So, Bel Air, Texas Bel Air High School is where he plays. And what major leaguers from this high school there's a lot of them. Bubba Crosby, Jose Cruz, who played for 11 years in the league, Jeff Devannon, who played for 8-9 years, Tyler Duffy, Jim Gideon, who played briefly in the 70s, Knoblauch. We have Kelly Wunsch, that pitcher, as a pitcher. Chris Young, who played, still playing, I think, 2006 he started.
For the
Diamondbacks. And Chris Young. There's a couple of Chris Youngs.
No, it might be the same one.
There's a couple.
I don't know.
We got a couple Chris Young situations here.
You think those two words together create more than one person?
I believe probably a lot. The mistaken identities would be deep with that one.
I think there's a country singer, too.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how deep they are with this one. Yeah,
really?
I was shocked. I'm like, there's not going to be any more Chuck Knoblauch. Oh, my God. There's a lot of them.
Fuck.
So he plays basketball and football in his freshman year also in high school. So he's just playing everything in high school that he can get his hands on. But after his freshman year, he was all about baseball. Yeah. I think his dad probably said, you're going to play varsity, you got to be serious, and that's all you're going to play.
Also, a huge portion of those players that came from that area, his dad coached them.
Oh, yeah, those are all Bel Air.
Bananas.
His dad coached every single one of them.
That was insane.
Not every single one.
Except for the ones that were in the 90s.
The ones in the 90s, right. Yeah. The few older ones his dad coached.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, the area breeds ball players. Yeah. It's a heavy, and the guys on the team are good. It's a really good squad always, as we could tell by his father's career record. Chuck says he's had a really lot of pressure in high school to be really good and to do everything perfectly because his dad's the coach and a hard-ass coach. Yeah. And he played for him in the 80s, so he'd been coaching there 20 years. It was rough. He said, quote, being Ray Knoblauch's son, it was always, he's playing because he's the coach's son. Right. So if I screwed up, it was open season for everybody to attack me. And he also says that included his father, because he said he wasn't, he said there, he would get yelled at for what he did on the field. Also for his temperament, because he's a very fiery guy. He's very fiery. Like they were talking about when he was kids. When he was a kid, he'd play wiffle ball with his brother Mark. Right. His brother would always kick his ass in wiffle ball.
Of course.
And he would fucking freak out and be like, "Get back here! You're gonna play one more game." He was very nuts about it.
We don't quit till I win one.
He would say, "I have to win. I can't do this." So he's one of those guys, which is good for an athlete. I mean, you have to have competitiveness. So he said it was his temperament. He said, quote, "I was pretty psycho back then. I could go nuts with the best of them. I mean, I just snap sometimes." Said he'd rant and rave in the dugout. He's ram his bat into the ground before he'd fling it down the foul line and throw helmets everywhere, which is fantastic.
Fucking yes.
I love that. Yeah. I love that in a ball player. That doesn't hurt anything as far as I'm concerned. That's just a little extra fire.
Yeah.
And I hate baseball's ruining itself, by the way.
It is.
I despise the instant replay for the and I get that you want it to be accurate and all that, and I wanted instant replay for a long time, but then when you actually do it, what it ends up doing doing is meaning that there's no arguments anymore. Because the managers just slowly walk out of the dugout and go, yeah, review it. And they go, okay. And then they have a chat quietly and amicably while they review it. And then once the tape comes in, he can't really argue about it. So he's like, all right. And he shrugs his shoulders and walks back. What the fuck is that? Some of the most fun in the last 50 years of baseball have been manager freakouts. Right. You would have, remember Lloyd McClendon taking the base and walking away with it in Pittsburgh, ripping out second base? Yeah. Fuck you then.
I'm leaving.
Lou Piniella throwing his hat at Billy Martin's epic meltdowns. Earl Weaver turning his hat around and getting in people's faces.
I love that you brought him up because after
favorite,
you brought him up, I went and watched them all. They're
nuts.
Fucking amazing.
He's fucking crazy.
It's great.
Not only his radio show was the greatest thing ever, obviously, from that clip I told everybody to listen to where he tells the lady.
The public meltdowns.
Tells a middle-aged woman to worry about where her next lay is coming from and not about her fucking tomato plants on public radio. Right. So that was pretty good stuff.
The pointing in an ump's face, and then when the ump says, don't touch me, and he goes, you touched me! Yeah. And then they go back and forth about who touched who first.
Amazing.
And it's fucking fantastic.
That's
Tell him
great.
To shut his cocksucker or some shit like
shut your cocksucker is what he said, which is great to say to an umpire. You know you're getting tossed when he said, you want to get thrown out when you say shut your cocksucker. You're not going to get away with that. Not happening.
You're a miserable son of a bitch and shut your cocksucker.
That would not exist.
with
replay. And it hasn't existed ever now.
If it started with replay, we'd never have that. We'd
never have that, which is so entertaining. I don't know, baseball, you're always looking for, entertainment value in it because it's kind of a slow sport and everything like that.
Right.
You know what fans always cheered for? Yeah. When a fucking manager shot out of the dugout to run in, that is better than someone hitting a 3-run homer to the crowd. They go nuts.
That.
They give standing ovation. They fucking love it. That's the best. And you've taken that away.
Right.
Let's take some of the excitement out of the game. You know what baseball has? Too much action. That's what it has. Too much. You know what we need? More standing around and conversing, because that's what now you have. Never had enough of that.
I would
before.
rather see a manager lose his shit than see a bench clearing brawl. Mm-hmm. But when a bench clearing brawl happens, that comes in second, because those are fucking great.
That's fun.
Too.
A lot of times they just
they just dust it off and they grab each other and yell at each other, and then
the guys know each other. Half the guys are just talking. Hey, Jim, what's happening out in the outfield? What's going on, dude? Yeah, I haven't seen you since the minors.
Or free agency. They used to play together for fuck's
that's what
sake.
I mean. It happens all the time. So it's just kind of and it even happened back in the day. The Jim Bouton Ball 4 book, he would talk about whenever there was a brawl, he'd look for someone he knows and he'd pretend to fight with them. They'd grab each other by the collar and be like, and they go, how's the wife? She's good. How are you, man? You got to come down to Florida this year.
Angrily,
you got to come down to Florida this year and see. And they'd be laughing, trying to stop because they know what they're doing. They're just fucking around.
That is brilliant.
How great is that?
I wonder, is the greatest.
That's what goes on in a baseball fight for the most part, unless it's a real heated rivalry.
I love your daughter. I love your daughter.
Your wife is a fucking treasure.
Your wife's pie's the best.
She makes the best appetizers around.
I want to fucking be on the field for that.
Every one of your parties is fantastic. Your pool is clean. Your bathrooms are sparkling, and your appetizers are on point.
My wife and I have been trying to figure out where you got that great couch.
Shaking each other.
I want to see it so bad.
That would be fucking
with
great.
With an angry face.
Oh, that'd be great. That's what they were doing. And then they would go, when they'd start laughing, that's when they'd go down to the ground and act like they were rolling around fighting so they could hide laughing. And
God, it's so good.
One time he said in the Jim Bouton book, Ball 4, in case it's hilarious. He said an ump came over and was like, "Yeah, you guys get the hell off each other," blah blah blah. And he's like, "We're just kidding." And he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you two? That's even worse.
You're both out of here for that shit."
The ump was like, "I was fine with you fighting. What are you fucking around on the ground now? What the hell's wrong with you two?"
The crowd loves it.
Yeah, they love it though. That's what I mean. Let's take that out of the game. Perfect. Good job, baseball.
Let's make this a sporting event where we all smile and shake hands.
Yeah,
fuck that. That's not fun.
No, it's bullshit. So that's what they're doing. And
then the Cubs will win.
Yeah.
And take all that away, too.
They're making more rules changes to make the game even worse now for next year, I was reading. I was like, this is awful. So anyway, Chuck says that, quote, I've really mellowed over the years. Mm-hmm. Quote, the anger beats you up mentally and physically, but I still have my moments. Now, in his senior year, he was great in high school. He was really starting to come along and really starting to be a force. People were looking at him for his senior year, scouts, colleges, everything like that. He was at a real lot of hype going on for him, Chuck. And then right before the season, he broke his leg for his senior season.
Really?
Which is a huge bummer. He said that's the only time he ever remembered his dad crying was when he broke his leg. It's like a racehorse.
Yeah.
Like he's worked this racehorse. It was born in his stable, and he's fucking fed it, and he's got it, and then he finally got it at the Kentucky Derby, and he's like, fuck yeah, and on the way to the starting gate, he broke his leg, and he's like, I put everything into this.
Ray knows he doesn't have to put him down,
years.
right?
No, he actually, Ray had to have a rifle physically removed from his hands as he tried to shoot him right in the infield. He said, I got to put him down. They were like, no, Ray, no.
We can set it. He'll be fine.
He's like, no, this is Texas. If you break your leg, we shoot you. That's it. That's all there is to it. You're useless after that. If you don't shoot your son with a broken leg, makes you queer.
What, are you going to make me have a conversation with him, too?
I'm going to let him live, talk to him. Next thing, I'm definitely going to be sucking him off. That's A, B, and C, brother. That's it. That's all it is, man.
Fucking brother. Oh, Jesus.
So he misses his entire senior year. Mm-hmm. With a broken leg, which has to be
that's terrible,
brutal for him. The team still wins the state championship.
Oh, shit.
So he sat there on the bench watching his team win the state championship.
You got to wonder if Chuck's even any good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, fuck, couldn't even get in on that. So that year, the June amateur draft comes around in baseball, and the 18th round of the draft, the Phillies draft him.
Okay.
They draft Chuck in the 18th, which is amazing that he hasn't even played since he was a junior.
Right.
He's 5'8", and they still drafted him in the 18th round, even though he hadn't even played.
Do they still have that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amateur draft.
Amateur. It's the always draft. It's the June draft.
That's a shitload of kids.
It's a June. Yeah, they draft shitloads of rounds.
18 rounds, and there's still more.
Oh, they used to draft 70, 80. I don't remember how. Like, I think Mike Piazza was like a 63rd round draft pick or something.
That's a whole new team.
Yeah, Don Mattingly was like a 40-something round draft pick. It's a lot of stars that were later drafted, but he does not sign with the Phillies.
No,
because in baseball you can be eligible for the draft or go to college. So it's better. Like in football, you have to either play your senior year or you can't be like, I'll see how I do in the draft and then be like, I got drafted in the second round, I'll go back to college.
Whereas let them do that.
Here, that would be great. It should be about the fucking the kids, not the teams. Right. But obviously then the teams would then lose a draft pick because he didn't sign. Well, guess what? Should have done your fucking homework and figured out whether he was going to sign or not, because that's what these people do.
And especially that sport.
And they weigh it like everything.
Sport more than any other sport.
Because you can get hurt and be done in a minute. So
your value is so fucking short. It's fleeting.
I believe I had quite a hate-filled diatribe on the NFL last week for this horse shit. Fuck the NFL.
That's what Bananas thought.
By the way, off the subject, the AAF. The AA. That was great, by the way.
It's fantastic.
That was the Alliance Football League. That was fantastic.
It's so good.
Had a lot of fun watching it. In the second series of the game that I watched, the first game, there was a huge hit on the quarterback that popped his fucking helmet off like a champagne cork. And I couldn't have been more. I said, I'm into this already.
This is it.
This is it. And they didn't call a penalty on it. He hit him hard and nobody said shit. The guy got up, put his helmet back on and had another play. And I went, gee, look at that. For the love of fuck. Football. Fuck me. Either play it or don't. I don't know. But it was good. It was fun. The football was it was like a tight game. They need quarterbacks. I will say that.
They do. Their arms are kind of shitty.
That's the thing. You can tell they're not NFL arms just in the way the balls kind of loop out there. So the defenses are going to have
ball wobbles a bit.
It's a little wobbly. But you get a half decent quarterback in there, a washed up guy or a guy who
you're going to get lights out.
Yeah,
well, like somebody that's
like I don't know, like
can't sign in the NFL.
No one will sign for some reason. That guy who maybe would have gone to a championship game in the NFL. I can't imagine who that would be.
I can't imagine.
Somebody like that out there.
Probably make a shitload of money and draw a shitload of fans.
I would think people would come to see him.
You think?
Maybe. So even Johnny Manziel, for Christ's sake.
Good Christ.
Bring him in there.
Fucking
who cares?
Knock the coke out of his hand and sign him up.
Let's go, fucker.
Let's go, dipshit.
But it's they don't pay a lot though. I think all the guys get paid the same amount and all that. But
$30,000.
It's a lot of. I was happy with the football. I thought it was fine.
It was great.
It was better than the Super Bowl.
Fuck yeah.
Every game I saw was better than the Super Bowl.
There was much more exciting plays.
Yeah.
There was between offense and defense.
They keep it moving.
Looks great.
There's no huge commercial timeouts too. There's a commercial, and then you see split screen of them huddling up to move.
So good.
It moves quickly. The play clocks are less.
Yeah.
I didn't miss the kickoffs at all, by the way.
No?
I didn't even care.
Not even a little bit?
Didn't even give a shit. I didn't even notice till like the third quarter. I was like, oh yeah, there hasn't been any kickoffs.
It makes you wonder why they do that shit, right?
Well, now when they put the ball so it's just kicked out of the back of the end zone for a touchback every time. Like, what's the fucking point?
It's dumb.
It's stupid. If you're going to have it so it's a touchback every time because you're afraid to let guys run with it.
Start it on the 25
for
and
injuries,
call it a day.
Just start it there.
Right.
Let's not waste the time.
Right.
So whatever. So he ends up, instead of signing with the Phillies, Chuck goes and plays for Texas A&M University.
Oh.
Decides to go to college.
Yeah.
The Chucks
in
are
Texas.
here. In Texas, yeah. So he's gonna go there. He played center field in his freshman year, but then later on he becomes an All-America shortstop.
Okay.
So a lot of second basemen start out in the majors, get drafted at shortstop.
Okay.
The best player on lower teams is the short. They for the best player they'll put at shortstop in center field. So they do that, and then you get to a major league thing, and a major league team, and they go, yeah, you don't have the arm. Shortstop's a special kind of arm.
Yeah.
You don't have that kind of arm, but you're a good fielder. They move you to second base.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. So a lot of second basemen, 90% of second basemen were drafted at shortstop.
No kidding.
Absolutely, and a lot of pitchers even, like Trevor Hoffman was drafted at shortstop. Guys like that. They're just good arms, and that's how it works.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he ends up.
Plus, it's like it's an athletic position.
Yeah.
That shortstop.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
You got to be fast as shit too.
You got to cover a huge amount of ground and be able to fucking throw a
Wing
ball
that bitch
accurately.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult position, shortstop. It's the most demanding when it comes to that. In the infield, in the center field, you have a lot of ground to cover too. You got to just be able to run like a deer out there. Different thing. Rather than bursts, you have to be able to go after, and plus playing the ball. Well, you got to be able to know the second it's hit where it's going to land, which is kind of hard to do.
You see trajectory right now.
Yeah, and it's not a thought thing. It's not like a physicist couldn't do it or something like that. It's just it's a instinctual thing. Yeah. Some people can do and some people can't. So in college here, his first year, he plays 67 games, 261 at bats, hits 341.
That's great.
Not too shabby. 3 home runs. He's a little guy. 23 steals. His coach, the baseball coach there, Mark Johnson, said, quote, he wasn't a real cut-up. He was all business on the field. Even when he came to practice, he had an agenda. He was very self-conscious about his play and always wanted more and more feedback. How's my swing? Did I dip? Am I staying down on the ground balls? In fact, if there's anything I needed to scold him about, it was that he was working too hard. I was always telling him to relax, to not beat himself up so much. He was his own worst enemy at times. Yeah. That's the story of Chuck Knoblauch's life, as we'll talk about his baseball career later on and what happens to him. It's all in his head, and it's all his own, whatever the fuck, I don't know, internal, his pistons aren't firing right or something. There's something off here.
Very Lenny Dykstra?
No, Lenny Dykstra's just crazy. This is a different story.
But Lenny's his own worst nightmare. You know
yeah, but this is a different thing. He's trying to be too perfect, Chuck Knoblauch, and it fucks him up.
What?
Yeah, he's like this. It's really weird, and it's coaches' kids, and it's people that put too much pressure on their kids. A lot of times, this is what happens to them. They're I need to be perfect, or my dad's going to yell at me, and I need to do this, or I'm going to get yelled at. Yeah. That's their whole life forever. They can never just relax and never have fun. It's just you're in your head. He's got to be perfect.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and for him, he always thinks too, he's small, so he has to be perfect. Yeah. Because if you're
once, they'll put a guy that's normal height in.
If you're 6'5", 220 and athletic, you can fuck up a lot. They'll give you chances. Because look at you, but you got to be perfect if you're 5'8".
Right.
So
5'8". There's a dude 6'5" sitting on the bench right now,
waiting for you to fuck up.
This.
Yeah, waiting for you to mess up. Hits 365 in his sophomore year.
Jesus.
So does a great job there. This is with aluminum bats, mind you, but still not too shabby. 5 home runs, 24 steals, so he's consistent. He's playing second base after that. In his junior year, he plays in 63 games, hits 364. Again, 8 home runs, 36 steals for 64 ribbies. So he ups his game a little bit. And then come 1989 in the Major League June draft, that draft was an interesting one here. Ben McDonald, number 1. Do you remember Ben McDonald's baseball card? If you're a baseball
Ben
card,
McDonald, fuck his card.
if you were a collector in like 1990, if you're a little kid like I was, for some reason, Ben McDonald, drafted by the Orioles, his baseball card was touted as this, oh, it's fucking Ben McDonald. And I remember being like, who cares about Ben McDonald? But it was like this big deal. And it was, remember some cards were worth a lot right away. And then they would come to the majors and suck.
Ishmael.
Yeah, exactly. Rahib Ishmael was a good one. Hensley Mullins would be another one, guys like that. So,
in the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Yeah, Ben McDonald, Tyler Houston, second to the Braves. A lot of guys that didn't go anywhere. Frank Thomas, number 7.
No kidding.
Overall to the White Sox, so that's Hall of Famer right there.
Good for him, by the way.
Fuck yeah, Frank Thomas is the man.
In baseball, to stay in one city his whole fucking career, didn't he stay in Chicago?
He went to Oakland. He went to Oakland at the end. But he played in Chicago for like 15 Oakland? years, a few years at the end.
Few years?
Yeah,
Jesus
3-4
Christ,
years.
where was
Because he was DHing, so he was just out there. He's a DH. He was at the end of his career, he's a DH who's a guy who knows how to draw a walk.
Yeah.
If you're an old guy
I
who
don't
can
remember him even playing
have
for
a good at bat, he'll play. Yeah, he played at the end, I think, for the A's there. But I mean, he was in Chicago forever.
Yeah,
that was just. I mean,
he was there for so goddamn long.
He was Mr. White Sox.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. Charles Johnson, the catcher for the shit Expos and the Orioles, bunch of black catcher, which you don't find very often.
For what's his name?
Charles Johnson.
Yeah,
played for the Orioles. Really, 90s. I always loved him because you don't see a lot of black catchers. I was like, fucking awesome. Yeah. I love a black catcher.
Only non-white one I can see is Pudge.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of the Molinas, Yadier Molina, Benji, those guys.
The Indians, yes?
Yeah. No, Yadier's a Cardinal.
Molina?
Yadier Molina's a Cardinal forever.
I see Molina playing for the Indians, though, as a catcher.
Benji's played all over the place. Yeah, there's 3 Molinas, yeah. Benji was a Yankee catcher for a while. Can't hit for shit. No. Yadier is the only one who can hit. So... that happens.
That's depressing.
That is. Number 23 overall, Mo Vaughn goes to the Red Sox, and Mo's a beast. Mo, I remember growing up because he is from near me in New York. I think he's from Trinity Pauling. So he was always in the newspaper. Yeah. Like when I was a little kid, like anything, any like local sports section, it would be like, this Mo Vaughn guy is, goes 5 for 5 every game and is the greatest high school player in the history of the world. Yeah. And they talked about him a lot.
I've met him, and he's a weird fucking fucking dude.
He seems like a weird dude, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Put stereos in his cars at a car stereo shop when I was 20. And he had an unbelievable car. It was
I would assume so.
a Rentec V12 Mercedes. It was an unbelievable car. It sounded like a goddamn Indy car when you started it.
Awesome.
And
he's a mean-looking son of a bitch.
He dropped off all these cars to get stereos in them, and then he fucking sent this weird stripper girl to pick them up. We're like, we can't give you this. We've put way too many things in this, and these are much more
really
valuable cars than we're going to just pass off to us. And then Mo would call and just be like, no, I'll give her the keys. And I'm like, are you sure
You're positive
about this?
All right.
This is a $100,000 car with
your dime, Chief. Let's do this.
$30,000 of stereo equipment.
Whatever.
All right. He
doesn't give a shit.
He's going to the chick with the giant titties.
Fuck it. Here you go. Bounce on out of here.
Enjoy, sugar.
So, fuck, man. This draft, I just remember all the baseball cards in 1990 for when I was a kid. I collected a lot in 1990, and I remember all these shitty guys that turned out to be shitty, all these Cal Eldreds and Willie Greens and Alan Zinter and all these guys. But number 25 overall is Chuck Knoblauch, drafted by the Minnesota Twins out of Texas A&M. So he's a first-round draft pick. A lot of guys, like we said, baseball it's hard to tell. It's hard to project what a guy's going to be. Hard enough in football to go, I've watched this guy every film. I've watched every tape of every game he's played for 4 years. I can't tell. In football, it's hard to tell what he's going to do in 4 months for you in the league. And that's not a big jump. In baseball, they have to literally project, what's that guy going to be in 5 years?
Eesh.
How the fuck do you do that? That's baseball scouting.
Jadeveon Clowney was such a great college
amazing
basketball player, or football player.
Yeah.
He broke through the lines and tackled that running back on national TV, made a huge deal out of it. And then it took him 3 years in the NFL to make any sort of great play. It's the difference
game
between college and professional is fucking vast.
But there are rookies that come into the NFL, make huge impacts.
And they're amazing.
In baseball, that's non-existent. No, it's not a thing.
Very rare.
And and especially these kids, you're drafting literally what's that guy going to be in 4 years?
Right.
Not what's he going to be in 6 months? If we get him into camp and get him in the weight room in 6 months, he could put on 20 pounds and he could be in baseball. It's I don't know.
Right.
So you had guys2nd round, Brian Hunter, Tim Salmon was in the 3rd round. He played forever. John Olerud was drafted in the 3rd round. He played forever. Phil Nevin, Denny Nagel, Jeff Bagwell in the 4th round, who hit 500-something home runs. Alan Embry, JT Snow in the 5th round.
You came in with all these guys?
Yeah. This is this year. JT Snow, Paul Quantrill, 6th round. Russ Springer, 7th round. Sterling Hitchcock, 9th round. These are all major leaguers. Kelly Sinnett, 11th round. Trevor Hoffman, 11th round.
Wow.
290th overall by the Reds.
Christ.
Guy has 600 saves.
Unbelievable.
And that's,
And all those teams passed on him a million times.
Jim Tomei, he was a dangerous son of a bitch in the 90s. Great hitter. 13th round by the Indians.
Wow.
Incredible.
That's a steal.
Greg Zahn, 17th round. Brian Giles, who was a good player, 17th round. Mark Rudzelanek, real good player, 17th round. Jeff Kent.
Wow.
Excellent. On one of the best offensive second basemen ever. 20th round. Unfucking believable. Jorge Posada, who is kind of a Yankee legend, a great catcher, rings, caught no-hitters and everything else. He is drafted in the 43rd round, 1116th overall.
Might have the fattest ass for the weirdest body. His body.
He's got a big fat ass and thighs. He's got a catcher body.
Yeah, he has a Hillary Clinton body.
Catcher.
He looks just like Hillary Clinton.
Who I'm sure played catcher on her high school softball team. I'm positive of it if she did anything. Jason Giambi, 43rd round. He didn't sign Giambi or Posada. They didn't end up signing, but they got drafted and came out the next year. Chad Curtis in the 45th round this year by the Angels. So, a lot of these...
touching kids in no time.
Oh, you know it. Also, Scott Burrell, who was a football player, was drafted, and Rodney Peete was drafted in the 13th round by the A's as well.
Right.
So Chuck says, quote, "My father wanted so badly for me to be picked by the Astros. He was really upset about it. I wasn't. I was just happy to be picked by anybody," which I don't blame him. him. He got a sign for $120,000 bonus, which is big money for a kid in the 80s. And he said he wanted a guarantee from Twins officials that if he played well enough in his first season in the minors, that he'd be invited to the major league training camp the following spring to get a shot at the club. Just to get a shot there. And the general manager, Andy McPhail, told him, quote, hit 280 and we'll invite you. And his father chimed in and said, quote, make it 300. So, that's rough. And he's putting his son behind the 8 ball even more. The general manager said, quote, I knew then that this was a kid with the genes of a competitor. Well, yeah, because his father's insane.
Yeah.
So
if that's indeed his father, he's definitely got the genes of a competitor.
The genes of something. So 89, he comes up, just that year. Yeah. He plays in a little A ball, plays for the Visalia Oaks, plays for the Kenosha Twins. Yeah. So just some A teams here. Hits 286 in Kenosha, hits 364 in Visalia. So not too shabby actually. That's not bad. Has a good first kind of rookie year. 1990 is like when his first full year with the club. This is when he says if he hits well here, can he be invited? 1990, he plays for the Orlando Sun Rays. Every kid's dream. Yeah. It's in Double-A, so bringing him up right away to Double-A from there, they think he's about ready. That they really have a lot of confidence in him there. Now, he there in Orlando, he hits 289. And 432 at bats.
In Double-A.
In Double-A. Yeah. 2 homers. So not too bad at all. I mean, that's good. 23 steals, 53 ribbies for a leadoff guy. Yeah, that's what you want.
It's a good start.
Not bad. 384 slugging. So it's okay. Knoblauch switched from shortstop to second base and hit 289. Now, Ron Gardenhire was his minor league manager, who ended up being the Twins manager forever. He says that he was that Chuck was a headstrong player who angered teammates with his intolerance of, quote, any screw-ups either by himself or his teammates. Okay. So he said that he pissed his teammates off because he was too much of a perfectionist and he wasn't just out there having a good time and all that. Baseball's kind of a loose game, and if you just kind of have to be like everybody else, or else everyone kind of goes, what's his fucking problem?
Benny Martinez said in The Sandlot. You're thinking too much. Try to just have fun.
That's what it is, but it's a weird thing. You kind of have to, like, if people see you, like back in the day in baseball, all these books, they say, like, if people saw you, like, reading a book, they'd be like, that was like a strike against you. Like, just reading a fucking book. Look at him over here. Dweeb. Yeah, he thinks what does this guy think? He's Mr. Smart Guy?
It? You think you can learn this shit in a book,
they'd be like, what do you think, it's Mr. Smart Guy? Right. Like, that's what it would be. What are you reading there, asshole? Like, they would, no matter what you're doing, they're going to fuck with you about it. It's one of those type of things. So he ends up getting invited to spring training in 91. He hit 289. So they told him 280 and he hit it. So he was a non-roster player. There was he had played 187 minor league games, which isn't a whole lot to get brought up to the majors. But in spring training, he hits almost 400. And he beats out Nelson Liriano, who was a 5-year veteran, and ends up getting a second base job.
How about that?
So he couldn't he played his way in. There was no way to put him down. He's hitting 400. How do you tell a guy he's not going to be on the team?
I mean, you got to take that for what it's worth in baseball, because in spring training at least, because that's spring training is just pitchers working on different pitches. Yeah. You could have a great batting average.
Absolutely, it happens,
and then get into the regular season and it's dog shit.
Oh, it happens all the time.
400.
But they're looking at it like Liriano, you knew your job was up for grabs. You could have hit 400 too.
You should have hit 410.
You should have hit 410. Yeah, this guy's hustling. He finally makes it to the major leagues his whole life. This is all his dad never got to play, and this is his whole deal. He says, quote, Chuck does, quote, my whole life it was, you're too small, you'll never make it to the major leagues, you'd better stay in school. You have people telling you that all this negative stuff. Well, I was just getting more and more mad. I'll show you. Mm-hmm. So this is how he does. He's an angry little man. Yeah. Let's just say.
I like him.
He's like, I'll show you. I'll show you good.
Or I'll beat the shit out of your knees.
Listen, pal.
Right.
Funniest thing later on.
Tell you what, pal.
Listen, buddy. He talks about the first time he got a base hit and ran to first base when McGuire was playing first. Mm-hmm. And he just said it was ridiculous. He was like, this fucking guy's a massive human being. Yeah. He's a monster.
It's all meat.
He's like he said his arm is bigger than my leg.
Yes.
He said that was his thought when I got to first base, was his arm is bigger than my leg. This guy, we play the same sport. This is ridiculous. This guy's a fucking...
He is clearly superior in the meat department.
Thor over here is playing first base, and here I am.
I looked at Frank Thomas's career. You know, he played for the Blue Jays, too?
Yeah.
That's right. Blue Jays went back to the A's.
That's right.
I thought the fucking guy stayed in Chicago his whole time.
I knew there was another team, Blue Jays.
It was 3 years, though, from like 2005 to 2008.
Yeah. That's, end of his career.
Nobody gives a shit.
He was just getting at bats. He was a good veteran at bat that could go deep in a count. From the 90s to 2005 in one city is insane. That's great. That's terrific.
It doesn't happen.
No, not at all.
Kudos to the Sox for hanging on to him.
Yeah,
that's
he was their
amazing.
whole... Yeah. You want to put a billboard up? What are you going to put on it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fucking that
Tim
guy.
Raines?
He's our guy. Not at that point.
No.
Who are you going to put on? Mark Burley? Well, later on, they probably did. He threw a perfect game at one point, I think.
Did he?
Yeah, I think
for
so.
them?
When they won the World Series, he was on the team.
Okay. Yeah.
So, it's you're going to put Frank Thomas on the goddamn team.
It's
not going to be Ray Durham.
No.
It's going to be Frank Thomas.
Yeah.
So the 91 Twins here, managed by Tom Kelly, who's kind of a legendary type of manager, one of those old-timey type guys. This team finishes 95-67.
Really?
This is a real good team. This is your Kirby Puckett.
Yeah.
This is the end of that, because they were good in the 80s. Yeah. Kirby Puckett and Ken Herbeck and
there you go,
Bransky and Gaetti and all those guys.
I'm trying to remember other guys other than Puckett on that team.
This is Jack Morris on this team, going 10 innings in the World Series against the Braves. Just one of the gutsiest performances ever. This is the end of that Twins dynasty from the 80s. Not dynasty, but that good Twins team from the 80s. And then it all fell apart and the Twins went real cheap and
changed their uniforms and try to make a whole new appearance.
Yeah, not those sweet blue jerseys like I have the Bly 11 of. It's fucking awesome.
It's a dope one.
So this year, they make the playoffs in the championship series, because this is pre-wild card. There's only 2 rounds. They play the Blue Jays and win 4-1 over the Blue Jays, who would then go on to win the next 2 World Series, as we know. And then they go to the World Series against the Braves. Yeah. 91 Braves is Dion. Yeah. And, this is a very... it's
everybody.
This is when the Braves became, burst on the scene and national popularity, and they were good for 12 years or so after this and went to all sorts of...
This is when everybody in your school had a fucking Braves hat, and not one of them had been to Atlanta.
Yep, this is when they would lose in the playoffs every year. And they don't disappoint this year. They also lose. This was a 7-game series. Great series. I remember watching this as a kid. It was awesome. This was, like I said, Jack Morris coming in and throwing a 10-inning game against Atlanta. Awesome stuff. Really, really awesome stuff. So Chuck this year, though, he had a good year too. He played in 151 games, not too bad at all. 281 batting average, which is great. 59 walks, 40 strikeouts, so more strikeouts more walks than strikeouts, so that's good for a leadoff hitter. 25 steals, not too shabby. 1 homer, 50 RBI, but he has a great year. In the playoffs, he hits 350 and hits 308 in the World Series.
Fuck.
So phenomenal, and for that, he wins the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
So he comes up, fought his way over here to get to the majors and wins Rookie of the goddamn year. Not too shabby Chuck with a 281 batting average. And he's a fine fielding second baseman, too.
Yeah. And this is probably the best era of baseball for quite a while.
Oh, this is a good era. This is a good era.
Years,
this is fun.
It's really good and fun.
It really is. Because this is when guys started using steroids. And it was fun. And guys were cranking homers.
Shit was impressive.
Yeah, shit was impressive. And I'm a big proponent in steroids in baseball. Give me those steroids. Let's get that game moving.
Steroids in baseball, concussions in football. It's where they belong.
Yeah, well, you know what? Football, you either can have concussions or not have a game.
Right.
And if you don't want to have a game because it's too dangerous, I understand. That's fine.
Shut the fuck down.
But if you're going to have a game, say, guess what? If you play this game, your brain might be mush.
Right.
But make sure everyone knows the fucking risks.
Be above board.
And also be like, when the brains are mush, we're going to take care of it after that. We're going to pay for medical bills and all that kind of shit. Yeah. That's all I'm asking for.
We made a shitload of money off your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I don't know. There's more, boxing's obviously more dangerous. The point is to hit the guy in the fucking head as many times as possible. And,
that's what the point of football was, too.
It used to be,
it's hit them wherever they fucking can.
Yeah.
It's just, when you go jump on a trampoline, you got to sign a fucking waiver. And these guys aren't just above board about what injury could happen.
It's crazy. No, they knew forever exactly what was up, and they denied it.
I can still sue this fucker at the trampoline park.
Yeah, you still can.
If I can still sue the fuck out of him.
If it's his fault if something happened.
Shit, yeah.
It's like the NCAA would do for years. They tried to somebody, I remember, was a guy, I want to say, I can't remember what school it was, TCU maybe, in the 70s, a guy had a broken neck, serious broken neck. He paralyzed him, college player, and he sued the NCAA for his medical bills because they just said, well, tough shit for you.
Fuck
so
that.
Now you have to go home and pay your medical bills. So he sued them for workers' comp.
Fuck yeah.
And they said, no, you can't have workers' comp because you're not an employee. They don't pay you. You're free.
Right.
So that's not a worker. So you don't get workers' comp. Go fuck your mother.
He didn't win?
Them off. No, they sent him off because the NCAA couldn't have that happen because if he got workman's comp, that's then a court has ruled that now those are workers.
Yeah.
Those are now employees. Yeah. Now you have to compensate them.
Right.
You have to treat them, like human fucking beings in America, not like fucking slaves. You have to do that.
Right.
So it's,
he can't say that my payment was a fucking education.
Yeah, you can't say that. That's odd. My payment is this thing that doesn't, non-tangible thing that
this valuable thing. It's like getting a boat for your payment and then be like, I was paid.
And he didn't get that education because once he couldn't play, he has no more scholarship. So that's it for that. He never got a college education to get a degree.
Right.
It's not like those guys are guaranteed 4 years no matter what. Hey, even if you get hurt, we keep you for 4 years. You're allowed to get your degree.
Wouldn't that be nice?
They cut you if they don't want you anymore, period. Fuck off.
If you're no good, you're out.
Yeah, you get hurt, whatever it is. So, Chuck has some hard times here. This is, his father started showing signs of Alzheimer's in 91.
Oh no.
Which is rough. He retired from coaching right after Chuck graduated. That was his last year. 86. Right. And then 5 years after that, now he's starting to have some problems. They said he would slur his words occasionally and have minor memory losses, which normally they'd be like, what, Pop putting a couple back today or what?
Dad drinks?
Is Dad drinking in the garage?
Papa Ray drinking?
They'd be like my grandfather because he always had a bottle of scotch out in the garage.
Right.
He'd leave fine, go out and dick around in the garage and come in with some minor memory lapses and slurring his words a little bit. And we just figured he had a couple nips off the bottle out there and hid it from my grandmother. She'd
you
yell
been
at him.
out there drinking Papa Giorgio?
Papa George. My grandfather would fucking hide. He would buy cheap, like, fucking plastic bottles of scotch because my grandmother would throw them out if she found them. She'd pour them down the sink.
Oh, so he's like, fuck it.
So he'd buy cheap shit. Anyway,
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So he had a barber shop and he kept the good shit down at the barber shop and he had fucking worst bottom feeder shit in the world, gut rot in the garage. So
just enough to get buzzed.
Yeah. So not buzzed. She get shit faced. So they said it reached the point where he sometimes couldn't get words out at all. So Chuck and his wife at the time, Lisa, took him to the Mayo Clinic for tests. And after doctors ended up removing a piece of his brain for analysis, obviously, like a biopsy, they diagnosed Alzheimer's. He said, quote, "My dad worked his whole life to get to where he didn't have to work anymore. And now he can't even travel and enjoy the rest of his life." It shows you how delicate the brain really is. It's a strange disease, very strange disease. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's the scariest thing in the world.
It really is.
To have a body that works and have your brain not working.
I don't want that.
Is awful. That's got to be fucking terrible.
I don't want that at all.
No.
I would much rather, I'm telling you, that being self-aware that I'm dying, I want that.
Well, like my grandmother now is 90 and her brain is perfect. I mean, not a fucking thing wrong with it. Her body's falling apart.
Yeah.
So she just is so depressed. Because in her brain, she wants to do things, and she's like, I just can't move. She's like, it's fucking terrible. Every day I feel I'd rather be there than not know where I am. And, but I mean, that even sounds shitty, but it's still at least you are aware of things.
Yeah. I'd rather be the Doc Holliday going, this is funny, sitting staring at your bootless feet.
What are you going to do?
That's what I want.
So he says Chuck keeps it private, though. This is like from an interview later on. He doesn't give a lot of anything. He says, quote, you can't let each and every person in. The less information you give out about yourself, the better. I mean, why let someone know you unless they have to? The only people that need to know me are my family. Which is great. I love that quote. It's like, what do you need all these people for? What do they care about those people? I don't know those people. So 92 in Minnesota, 90 and 72 the Twins finish, which is second in the AL West, and back then that would get you not in the playoffs.
Right.
So they missed the playoffs even though they have a very good team. Chuck, though, is an all-star this year. So first year Rookie of the Year, second year All-Star, hits .297 with 2 homers, 56 ribbies. That's great. 88 walks. walks, 34 steals. Yeah. Top notch. It's 358 slugging, 384 on base. Goddamn good year. Yeah. It's paid $325,000 also.
Making himself valuable.
Hustling from that 5'8" position. Makes $325,000, which goes a long way in Minnesota back in the 90s, I think. 1993 with the Twins, that's when it falls apart. Okay. They go 71 and 91.
Oh no.
So basically the reverse record of last year. This is tough, but Chuck is fine. He hits 277, 2 homers, 41 ribbies, steals 29 bases, 65 walks. So he's fine.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team, not so much.
They suck.
It's the end.
Yeah.
It's the end of this era here. He makes $510,000 though. Okay. So his salary creeps up every year. 1994, the Minnesota Twins here. They finish 53 and 60. That's the strike shortened season. Okay. So it doesn't. They don't get to suck for an entire 6 months.
Yeah.
Only about 3 months of sucking. This is Tom Kelly, still the manager. Chuck's an all-star this year.
How about that?
Not too shabby. Again, hits 312. Yes. Look at you, Chuckster. 312, 5 homers, 51 ribbies, leads the league with 45 doubles.
No kidding.
Doubles are a huge thing because he's just not a power guy. So he's hitting shots to the gaps that if he was stronger would be home runs. But instead they're fucking doubles, which are terrific. For a leadoff guy, doubles are great.
You start with a dude on second?
That's starting on second base. That's you're already there, man. You need a base hit to score. You have 3 outs to get a base hit or even to move him over and get him home. I mean, that's a run.
Your chances at winning are already upped.
Your chances of scoring a run in the first inning are very high with that. So, he's excellent this year. Strikes out a little more often, but I think he just gets more aggressive at the plate. Swings a little more, which raises his average too.
Yeah.
There he makes $1,625,000 this year.
Good motivation.
Now you're talking. Yeah, he's doing very well. 1995, he marries Lisa, the aforementioned that him and Lisa took his father to the Mayo Clinic and all of that. So he's married. He's making a lot of money. Yeah. He's a pro ball player. He's an all-star, multiple-time all-star, rookie of the year. Things are going well for Chuck. Very, very well. 95 with the Twins. 56 and 88 is their record. Not great. They're really kind of falling apart here, the Twins. He plays a lot of games, plays in 136 games, hits 333. That is top notch right there. 333, not bad. 34 doubles, 11 home runs, raises his power up a little. So he's definitely swinging more.
This is why everybody had his baseball card.
Yeah, 63 ribbies, 46 steals, which is a lot of steals. Top notch. He's wins the Silver Slugger Award, which is the best hitting second baseman in the league, and he's 17th in MVP voting.
Look at this.
So top 20 in the MVP voting too. Not too shabby. And for his excellent on-field effort, he earns $2,987,500.
Damn near $3 million.
Just about $3 million.
Wow.
That is awesome.
That's great.
God damn it. That's so cool.
I'd retire.
I'd be so happy with that. So
goodbye.
No, well, it's going to get better for him money-wise. 1996, this team finishes 78 and 84. So now it's just a losing season after losing season, and it's not going well for them. The Twins also, their attendance is way down in that shitty dome. That's bad. When that place is empty and you can hear echoes and stuff, that's a depressing game to watch.
They need a movie to come out about a kid owning the Twins.
That's a good idea. that could turn it all around.
That'll get people in here.
Actually, that seemed to turn it around the opposite way. And when that movie came out, they fell off the fucking face of the earth.
That was like 94, right?
Yeah,
it was around this time.
Why'd we pick the Twins?
Right.
Shit, we could have went with a good team.
We could have sunk the A's.
Yeah, something. They sucked by then too. In August of this season, though, midst of a flop season, they know they need to lock Chuck down because he's kind of the signature star of the team at this point. So they sign him to a 5-year contract. This is the Twins doing this. This is out of character. They're a very cheap team. They do not give out big money unless it's like their signature star. They'll give money to one guy. Give money to Kirby Puckett. They'll give money to what's his name, the fucking catcher forever there, Joe Mauer. They'll give money to him. They'll give him. They give Chuck Knoblauch a 5-year, $30 million contract.
That's fantastic.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
$6 million a year.
$6 million a year. And this year, he the team sucks, but he plays in 153 games. He hits 341.
My Christ.
Smoking. So he went from 277, 312, 333, 341. Every year he gets better. That contract's looking like a good idea. He leads the league with 14 triples that year. 35 doubles, 14 triples, 13 home runs. That's a lot of extra base hits. 72 ribbies, 45 steals, 98 walks. Even his eye is getting better. You can't beat. He's an all-star, and he's 16th in MVP voting.
Now he's moving up that too.
Moving up, he makes $4,670,000. So he's doing well. Fall of 96, though, he's tired of this shit. He's tired of being a loser, is the way he kind of puts it. He tells the Twins that he wants to waive his no-trade clause and be dealt to a contending team ASAP. Get me the fuck out of Minnesota.
He wants a ring.
He wants out. Yeah, he wants to win, and he's tired of losing, and he doesn't see... He got all the money, and they didn't sign anybody else, and it's not going to get any better.
He should know that.
Yeah, they were basically giving him money to shut the fuck up and be the guy they put on billboards. That's it. Just be the team guy. Doesn't matter. You're never going to win.
Be the face of this team. It's okay.
It's fine. Well, not okay with him. He said, quote, "Why would somebody want to stay here to play? Believe me, there's nothing fun about losing 90 games. It just makes it difficult to go to the ballpark."
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fucking miserable.
That's what, and he said, quote, "I was just dejected. The losing got to me. I wasn't handling getting beat up on a pretty consistent basis." So, the problem was, his agent told the team that, and they end up telling the manager, Tom Kelly, who ends up blabbing this to the media, saying this fucking guy wants to get out of here, blah, blah, blah. So he blew up Knoblauch's spot. And it took some heat off of Kelly for having 5 straight losing years, probably. But he said he didn't think... He told the media Knoblauch wants out of here because he doesn't think his teammates are good enough. Which, that's not exactly what he said. They're not, but that's not the point.
That's your fault, though, not theirs.
Exactly. You guys didn't buy enough good players. That's what that means.
You put this field together. And this field sucks.
So they put that all on Knoblauch and made a lot of people hate Chuck Knoblauch in Minnesota, and so it wasn't fun. Knoblauch says, quote, "When TK," which is Tom Kelly, "made that statement, it was like a seismic shift because he had a lot of control over the organization. I love him, looking back on everything I do, but I just think people pay attention to what he says, the people of Minnesota, the fans, and I think that's why there was so much hate or hostility toward me when I came back," which we'll talk about. He probably thought I was abandoning them, but I just wanted to win. I understand. To sit in Minnesota and fucking just sit there and lose every year. Who wants to do that? That sucks. And with no hope.
Right.
It's not like, well, we got 5 free agents this year, or we're, got a couple new guys. It's just going to get worse every fucking year.
You're going to sit through a Minnesota winter for that shit to thaw out to go get your ass kicked?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
thank you.
And it's still going to be cold 2 months of the baseball season, too. So,
thank Christ we play inside.
Oh, man. So 1997, the Twins, they don't trade him. That was 96. He made the request. And so 97, he's on the team the whole year. Tom Kelly's still the manager, 68 and 94.
That is brutal.
That's brutal. That's a brutal season.
Oh, fuck.
You almost lose 100 games. That's
my God.
Fucking miserable. That's so bad. Chuck, though, he's fine. He's an all-star this year. All-star, wins the Silver Slugger, and why not a Gold Glove award, too.
No kidding.
Wins a Gold Glove, too. So best second baseman in the American League.
On a team that wins one game out of 3.
He's the man. He's great. He hits 291, which, that's that's a base hit a week, so whatever. He hits 291, but a 390 on base percentage, which is pretty goddamn good. Plays in 156 games, steals 62 bases, which is a career high for him. He's only caught 10 times out of that, which is pretty damn good. 10 triples, 26 doubles. Not a bad year for him. 9 homers, 58 ribbies, $6,150,000. So, not too goddamn shabby.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
So 1998 rolls around, and finally on February 6th, 1998, the Twins ship him out of there and trade him away.
They've had enough.
They've traded. Well, he just wants to be traded, and they finally find a taker, and they get a decent deal for him too. They trade him to the Yankees, who at 1996 won the World Series. 1997 got beat by the Indians in the playoffs, and we're just looking to push themselves over the top here with a little bit, and they needed a leadoff hitter, and Knoblauch is a hell of a leadoff hitter. Exactly what they needed to set the table. He's a guy who goes deep in counts. He fits them really well, and at this point, he was a Gold Glove. Amazing defensive second baseman.
And a perfectionist.
Never forget what a good defensive second baseman he is, because it's really going to fall apart in a second here. So he's traded from the Twins to the Yankees for Brian Buchanan, Christian Guzman, Eric Milton. Milton and Guzman were on the team for years, so that's decent. Danny Mota and cash. So Joe Torre, the Yankee manager at the time, said, quote, Chuck had that fire we needed. He's a tough player who never takes the safe way out. He does a lot of things to create an attitude. That's what that Yankee team was, too. They were a fiery guy. Paul O'Neill was on that team who would, strike out and beat the shit out of the water cooler with a bat till it broke in the dugout. And they were a fiery group.
I like that a lot.
I do too. That was the team that got in that big brawl with the Orioles that time.
Yeah.
Armando Benitez, Plunk Bernie Williams, or Tino Martinez in the back, and the whole fucking bench is cleared. And you saw Darryl Strawberry throwing 8-foot-long spider arm punches at people. It was fucking awesome. That was good stuff.
Coke-fueled punches.
Oh, Coke-fueled angry punches. A tax hole Coke-fueled. So Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, said about Chuck, quote, he is consistently demonstrating the way the game is supposed to be played. They talked about him being a see and react hitter, which he was. They said he always finds a way to get on base. He'll get a bunt, he'll get a walk, he'll figure it out. He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind doing the little things to get on base, because that's what you're supposed to do as a leadoff hitter. Willie Randolph, who's a great Yankee player for years, and then was a coach and a manager of the Mets. Willie, at the time, he was the third base coach for the Yankees. He said, quote, he's a true leadoff hitter. He's one of the few in baseball who really understand that role. So they got a perfect guy for them. At this point, they're talking about he still calls his parents 3 times a week from the road.
Oh, that's weird.
Which is a little odd for a grown man. Nice, but, maybe call just on Sundays or something. So he said at one point there was a problem here.
Oh, he might be calling to make sure the dad still knows who he is.
Well, that was the thing. He said that he doesn't really, the conversations with his dad don't really go anywhere now.
Very reminiscent of his truck ride.
I was going to say, it's like driving to school with him. He'll say, how's the weather down there, Dad? He'll go, good. Like, it's just, he doesn't have the conversation skills anymore because his brain is deteriorating. And he said that he said at one point on the phone call in 98, his dad broke down and started crying in the middle of a call.
Fuck.
And he said, when I broke my leg in high school was the only time I've ever seen him cry before that, or heard him cry. So he said his father doesn't really have any good days anymore, he said. He said, quote, I'm trying to accept it. I'm thankful I have the ability to talk to him at all, but I see the difference between last year and now. If he goes to the next level, it will be very hard on me.
Yeah.
So understandable. That would be hard on anybody. Luckily, on the field, things are much different. The 98 Yankees, in my opinion, are at least the greatest team of the last 50 years that ever played. I don't care about the Mariners that one year getting more regular season wins. None of that shit matters. This team would fucking roll you. They were so good. Yeah. They were just waiting for the playoffs so they could just roll everybody. They were so nasty. They would wear down pitchers. They'd be gone by the 5th inning. They would just pummel you, and then Mariano Rivera would come and mop up your bones at the end.
There's no runs happening.
Nothing. They were brutal. God damn it. That was such a good team. Shit, they were good. They go 114-48 in the regular season.
Really?
Which at the time was a record. And then the Mariners, I think in 2001, won like 115 games, but the Yankees beat them in the playoffs. So suck it, Mariners.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah. So 114-48, absolutely crushing. They were fucking nasty. Just absolutely nasty. Joe Torre managing, as we know here. They in the division series, they swept Texas 3-0. Then they beat the Indians 4-2 in the AL Championship Series, and that was a good Indians team. Yeah. That's Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, Omar Vizquel. That was a murderer's row. Yeah. It's a nasty team.
What a big nose on that Torre, though.
Oh, Torre, yeah.
Bananas looking.
I like the way he wore his hat, which was barely touched. The back of it was barely touching atop his head, while the brim was pushed down. I don't know. He wore the lowest hat, but didn't pull it down. It was just up on top. It was just sitting atop his head.
He rested it on that bizarre nose of his, that Fraggle Rock nose.
Joe Torre was known while he was playing, like by the other players, as like he was the joke of the ugliest guy in the world. They'd be like, oh, Christ. If somebody was going out with an ugly girl, they saw him leave the bar, they'd be like, God, I saw so-and-so leave the bar last night. The broad looked like Joe Torre. She was fucking awful. That's how they make fun of him. Hey, that chick looked like Joe Torre last night. He's known as an ugly bastard.
He really is.
They go that year to the World Series against the Padres. That was a sweep of the Padres, and they thumped them up good. The Scott Brocious was the MVP that year, and Rivera was coming in mowing them down.
Brocious was so good.
He was good. He was not good until that year.
Really?
That year, the Yankees got Brocious and they got Chuck Knoblauch. And Knoblauch was supposed to be great, but Brocious was like a 230 hitter that all of a sudden hit 320.
That's weird what steroids will do.
It wasn't even that. He was just in a good lineup.
You think
Brocious,
so?
Oh, Brocious looked like somebody's math teacher.
Well, but
he hit like 18 homers. He hit 18 homers and had the body of a math teacher. If he was writing, he should get his money back. We'll put it that way. If Scott Brocious was on something, they gave him the wrong shit.
You don't think that stuff just enhances your muscle reaction?
Yes, but I also think that you can't look like a 43-year-old math teacher and be on steroids. Like, you have to have some muscle tone if you're on roids.
I'm on steroids right now, James?
Well, you have bulked up a little bit, and if you don't work out, that's what'll happen with steroids. You'll just get bigger. But he didn't get any bigger. He looked like a dork still.
Okay.
He was just in between Knoblauch and somebody good hitting eighth. Yeah. He was just in a good lineup.
That's a good point.
He was on a terrible team before that. Chuck has a down year this year. Mm-hmm. He hits 265, which is way less than normal. Hits 17 homers, which is his most ever. 64 ribbies, but stolen bases are cut from 62 to 31. So in half. A lot of that is because you have Jeter hitting behind you and he's trying to move you over, so that's understandable. The Yankees weren't as aggressive on steals. 25 doubles, 4 triples, just not the same guy this year. They asked him in an interview, are you trying too hard to impress the new team? Is that what's going on? And he said, quote, no, I don't need to impress anybody, which is
that's an angry response.
One way to say it. Yeah. Another thing they said, are you feeling the pressure of playing in New York? It's a lot of pressure. And he said, no. And then he said, quote, I'm a firm believer that all pressure comes from within. If you concentrate on the game, you'll be all right. My father taught me that. Yeah. He should know that.
Yeah.
Yankees win the World Series. He's on probably the best team in history and all this shit. He makes $6 million this year. Grace.
Yeah.
This is grace because it goes real bad, real fast.
But it's still $6 million. That's like $50 in New York.
Yeah.
That ain't nothing.
He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with no heat.
Right.
So it's tough. It's tough.
A walk up on the 14th floor.
It's very hard. Yeah, it's very difficult for him to survive. The 99 Yankees finished 98-64 in first place. They beat the Rangers in the AL Division Series. 4-1 beat the Red Sox in the AL Championship, and then swept the Braves 4-0 in the World World Series. They lost one game in that playoff.
That's insanity.
Just they knew how to play in the playoffs. Yeah. They were crushing people. That was the year where against the Braves, I think it was game 2 of the series. I don't remember. Chad Curtis was the hero of the game. Of Crime and Sports alum. Yeah. Chad Curtis, the kid diddler himself.
Was this the series that he caught the final out too?
No. This was the one where it might have been, but I know he hit a game-winning home run. Yeah. And they went to interview him after the game. Jim Gray did, and he told Jim Gray to go fuck himself because Jim Gray had been mean to Pete Rose. So he said, "Me and all the guys aren't going to talk to you because of what you did to Pete Rose. Have a good one." And he walked away. And I was like, "Awesome, hell yeah!" And I had no idea he was future to diddle kids. So
in the name of Christ.
In the name of Christ. The power of Christ fingers you. That's not how it's. That's not the statement. It goes, that's not how I heard it. 99 though is a hard year for Chuck. He hits 292, which is fine. All the hitting is fine. 18 homers, 68 ribbies, 36 doubles. That's all great. Yeah. He can't throw to first base anymore. This is when he gets the Steve Sachs disease.
Really?
This is he get routine ground ball to second base. He'll throw it in the 4th row.
No.
Can't throw it to first base. Jimmy, it was the weirdest thing you ever want to see. It's a mental thing. It's just a mental.
What is that?
It's a mental block. It happened to Steve Sachs, the Dodger second baseman for years. He went through a period where he just couldn't throw it to first. And there's catchers that have had this. Mackie Sasser couldn't throw it to the pitcher. Yeah. And it's happened to guys. It's a mental thing. They can't do it.
So bizarre.
Because guys like Knoblauch and Sachs have the same thing. He could make a diving play in the hole, get up, fire one over, right on target. No problem. Easy ground ball, 4th row. Or way off to the side. Or Knoblauch would get this thing where he couldn't throw it. He'd go to throw it and he'd like pump it like 3 times. Like he'd go to throw it and go, no, that's not going to work. Shit. And then
don't put it in the seats.
Dude, this season I saw a game in Anaheim. I went to a game and it happened to him in this game. And it was the most fucked up thing to watch happen live. It happened. He fucked up like 2-3 times and he just couldn't do it, man. It came to him and he pump faked it like 3 times and ended up like lobbing it like a basketball. Like literally like you would shoot a basketball. Like he lobbed it in the air to try to get it to first and the guy beat out the throw because it was a fucking
it's a lob.
He just did this little lob to first base because he didn't want to throw it in the 5th row.
That's amazing.
It was the weirdest fucking thing ever. And you never knew when it was going to happen. Yeah. He'd go for a week where it was Chuck, he cleaned all good, clean ground balls. He did it well. And then all of a sudden one day, fucking 3 errors. He couldn't throw it to first. Yeah. So guys were trying to hit it to him because put the pressure on him, make him throw it away. It was brutal, man.
Is that considered
an error?
And if he pump fakes and then lobs it and they get on base?
He should have been an out. That's an error. Yeah, if it's a routine grounder, that's an error. It's the same thing as if he held it and let the guy run to first. It's an error. So, that's an error. He has 26 errors in 1999. He goes from being Gold Glove 2 years ago to having 26 errors, and most of them are throwing. It's like, 23 of them are throwing errors. And it was so ugly to watch. It really was. To watch a man fall apart like that for no good reason, just his own brain not working anymore. And you'd see him, he looked so frustrated. He'd stand there and he'd have his hands on his hips and you'd see him fucking red-faced and he'd be like, I know how to fucking... In your head, you could see the conversation he's having.
But then also,
I know how to do this. I've done this 700 million times in my fucking day. But pick it up and throw it, asshole.
In the back of his mind, he's got, my dad's brain is disappearing. Is it happening to me too?
I don't even think it's that. I think he's got... If it happens once... It's in there. Happened to Rick Ankiel. Remember, Rick Ankiel was a great for the Cardinals. He's a really good up and coming pitcher, big fireball guy, having a great time. Couple of years, he was great. All of a sudden, he couldn't throw a strike. And I don't mean couldn't throw a strike. I mean he would throw it 6 feet over the catcher's head. No shit. He would throw it 5 feet wide to the catcher at 95 miles an hour, which you can't do. That's dangerous.
Yeah, but that's seeing that happen. Then I go, that makes sense. Yeah, that's exactly what the fuck I would do.
But that guy knows how to not do that. Right. He just couldn't throw a strike. He knew how to throw it. He knew how to, but he would just throw it way off. He couldn't do it. It's a mental problem.
As a spectator, I'd watch that and be like,
I saw that live too. Yeah. I saw that live too at a Diamondbacks game when he melted down. I was like, oh my God. But Ankiel, they sent him down to the minors to try to get. He never came back. He ended up switching to be an outfielder and became a pretty good offensive hitting outfielder.
Brutal.
Rick Ankiel. But most guys don't come back from this yip thing. The only guy that I know of that really came back and reestablished his career was Steve Sachs. He ended up coming back playing for the Yankees and never had another problem again. But I mean, that's probably a psychiatrist and everything else because it's all mental. There's nothing about it that you can't do. It's the easiest thing in the world. Anybody could fucking do it and just lost their shit.
That's so weird.
So not only is his career falling apart and his dad is dying, but he gets a divorce from his wife this year, too.
Lisa can't take any more of this shit?
Dude, this is bad. Your dad's going, your career, you can't even throw anymore. The one thing that you could do is field the baseball and throw it to first base. Right. That's failing you now. And now your wife's leaving you and your dad's dying. Shit is deteriorating around this guy. Fast. In 2000, the Yankees go 87 and 74, which is good for first place. They beat the A's 3-2 in the championship series, or in the division series. They beat the Mariners 4-2 in the championship series, and then they have the Subway Series with the Mets, where they beat the Mets there 4-1. Even worse throwing problems this year.
Really?
It's way worse. It's so bad.
Playoffs too?
All the time. Well, we'll talk about it. Yeah, he was a fucking liability, man. You couldn't have him out there. This was so bad. He had a throw at Yankee Stadium that he threw over Tino Martinez's head and into the stands, and it hit Keith Olbermann's mother in the face.
No way!
Put Keith Olbermann's elderly mother in the hospital.
Oh, Jesus.
With a baseball. Yes.
Wow.
If you don't know Keith Olbermann, was a sports broadcaster and a news guy and all this shit.
Turned himself into a weirdo.
Who the hell knows? But he hit Chuck Knoblauch's throw was so bad he hit Keith Olbermann's mother in the face and put her in the hospital. Wow. Which is awful.
When Keith Olbermann was a trusted sports resource.
Yeah, which he's a great sports guy. Christ, if he sticks to sports, he's fantastic.
He's great.
Now, also in May of this year, he Jesus Christ, he makes a throwing error, and after the game, he suggested that he would quit baseball if he couldn't conquer the problem. He was so frustrated. He was talking out in the open about it. He couldn't be like, that'll be fine tomorrow anymore, because it's like a year and a half. He said, quote, "I don't need this. I'm not out here for the money. I'm out here to have fun. I don't need the money, and I don't need this."
Yeah.
And they said, well, are you pretty? They asked him if he was close to his breaking point, and he said, pretty close.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready to snap.
If I hit Bob Costas' mom next week, it's over.
If I hit anybody's grandma, this is fucking, I'm over this shit. On June 16th of that year, he threw away 3 balls in the first 6 innings.
No.
3 throwing errors into the stands in the first 6 innings of the game.
I want one of those balls.
That's right. Yeah, that'd be great.
That
Chuck
would be
Knoblauch
a great one.
Errant ball.
Yeah.
So the problem is the Yankees are making a pitching change in the 6th inning. So, you know how all the infielders come and gather around the mound. Knoblauch didn't go. He just stood at second base with his hands on his hips, kicking the dirt, doing that error when infielder kicked the dirt thing. Just
belong here.
Fucking melting down on his own. So they ended up coming in. And the end of the inning comes, which is a ground ball to Jeter. Knoblauch does his thing, goes back into the dugout, and ends up talking to Torrey for a minute, and then Block just leaves. He takes off. He just leaves. He goes in the dugout, gets his street clothes on, fucking leaves the stadium in the middle of the game. Just pulls himself out of the game. Bye.
I don't have it, Torrey.
I'm not in it today. He melted down. Torrey kind of protected him a little bit. He says that once they got, by the way, he fucking ripped up the clubhouse too. He broke a bunch of shit and broke chairs and tables. And he fucking snapped and left the clubhouse. He didn't know what to do anymore.
I think the other team put like Dan Rather's grandma on one side.
I think so, yeah. The corpse of Walter Cronkite somewhere. Not even his mom, he's in like a glass case.
Lying in state in the outfield.
You broke Cronkite's glass case, you asshole. They have Babe Ruth's entombment out there and everything. Jesus Christ.
That would be brilliant.
Knoblauch apparently told Torrey that he was hurting the team, and Torrey said he cut off Knoblauch and told him to, relax and don't you can avoid the reporters after the game and all that. And so Knoblauch just took off. Torrey said, quote, "I hope he sleeps on it and realizes the most important thing is that everybody here is on his side and we all want him to feel better about this thing." Right. Derek Jeter said it's a tough situation, but you've got to support people when they're up and when they're down. The ball up the middle was a tough play, and he made it look easier by getting there. And the double play, that's the hardest thing in baseball. So to be honest with you, I think he only made one bad throw today. Which is fair. David Cohn says, we all hope he doesn't make a rash decision under stress or emotion, which is also fair, too. Yeah. They're saying, we just don't want him to quit and walk away or go blow his fucking brains out. Right. So what does Chuck say about this whole thing? Because this is interesting. Let's get it in their own words on this. What do you say? Let's find out what Chuck has to say about this. In their own words, quote, Something obviously went wrong, but I have no idea what it is. I couldn't overcome it. I got to thinking too much and I couldn't shut it off. It was bright lights, big city, and I was having the serious issue in front of millions of people, and I had to wake up every day and face it. And I faced it. If you care so much about something, it's hard not to make it a life and a death thing. I feel like I went to New York as a boy and I left as a man because I went through the ringer.
Yeah.
He had a tough time, man, and the fans got on him. If he made a throw to first base, the bleachers would give him a standing ovation. So it was like one of those things. So even when he made the throw, he couldn't just be like a routine thing, go around the horn and relax. They'd give him a standing ovation and make him think, oh, he couldn't even just get in the routine anymore. Every throw was under the microscope. It got way out of hand.
I'd have had Bryant Gumbel's wife there. I'd have had Felicia
Put everybody.
Rashad.
Who's got a mother? Put him in the front fucking row. Well, actually, about 3 back, because I'm off today pretty bad. Got him really up there deep.
Put him in the 13th row.
Shit.
Just line him up.
God damn it.
That would be hilarious.
It would be fucking great. He does make $6 million and hit 283 that year, which isn't terrible. 5 homers, 26 ribbies, which isn't great. 102 games he played in that year. So he had some issues. 2001 Yankee season, 95 and 65. They finished first. They beat the A's 3-2 in the division series. That was that Jeter play that he made. That was like the most amazing defensive play ever, where the ball was like off the first baseline and he shot into the picture and grabbed it and flipped it to Posada quick, and Posada tagged the guy who was scoring in a 1-0 game.
I don't recall.
It's the best play in the history of baseball. It's and I hate to say this, but it's probably one of the most heads-up defensive plays in the history of baseball. The throw is off from an outfielder, and Jeter comes from across the field and just fucking in one motion grabs it and flips it to Posada
with the glove.
Glove to hand, just flips it to Posada, who tags out a runner who didn't even slide because he didn't think the throw was off, so he thought he was fine, and he was just running, and Jeter comes in the picture and never should have been there. He just really weird thing. Then they beat the Mariners 4-1. That was the Mariner team that beat their record for regular season wins. They shut them down 4-1, and then they go to lose to the Diamondbacks in one of the most painful things I've ever seen in my life. That whole series, that was
a big fuck you to New York in 2001 when they needed it.
Oh, those guys were fucking exhausted. Like the Diamondbacks didn't have to do shit.
No,
like 9/11 affected them zero. That gave them extra time off. What they had.
They're still clearing their lungs.
Well, not only that, whenever they're in New York, they didn't just play baseball and then go sit on their asses. They had to go to hospitals and go visit Firefighters. They were the big PR thing. Like they were constantly doing fucking charity shit, and then they'd have to go play. And then the Diamondbacks were sitting on their fat asses. Fucking Kurt Schilling sitting on his fat ass talking shit. Oh God, I can't stand him so fucking much. Moving on.
That team got George Bush to put on a Yankees jacket, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, no shit.
They deserved it, and the Diamondbacks robbed them.
Fucking ridiculous, man. Fucking ridiculous. Chuck is moved to left field this year.
Oh, really?
His whole life he's played infield since his sophomore year in college, and now they move him to left field because he doesn't have to make that throw.
And Olbermann's mom says her face says he's got an arm.
Yeah. This was an Alfonso Soriano came up to play second base, who was a goddamn great player, a good hitter. During a game in Minnesota, they returned to the Metrodome. He goes back home to Minnesota here in 2001, not home, but his old team. He goes out to left field, and the fans start fucking harassing him.
Really? That's the benefit of outfield.
If you play in the outfield, they can go after you. At second base, nobody can do shit.
Right.
So they talked shit to him for a while, yelled things, then they started throwing shit at him.
Oh, no.
Hot dogs, beer bottles, quarters. They start pelting him with shit. So much so that the game is stopped, and it's fucking crazy. The Tom Kelly went into left field, the manager, to plead with the fans to say, please stop doing this shit. Like the manager of the Twins said, please, Jesus Christ.
He kept his job that whole time?
Yeah, somehow.
Jesus.
And he also said that he walked out there with Knoblauch at one point to don't throw shit at the both of us.
This is Chuck. This is the fans.
It was crazy. So much so the umpires threatened to declare a forfeit.
Wow.
That's how fucking out of hand they got. They ended up throwing out over 50 people out of the game.
What the fuck?
It was crazy. Tom Kelly said it was a terrific game, and in my mind, it was ruined. Hopefully, they can clean it up around here. Yeah. So Minnesota is the last place you'd expect this to happen.
Yeah.
This is they're so nice.
The Cubs didn't even throw out people for pouring beer on that dude.
No. know.
You know what I mean? I can't believe they actually threw people out of it.
It was either that or they were going to have to forfeit the game.
Yeah.
Literally, they said, well.
So much for Minnesota nice.
That's what I'm saying. It's fucking weird. And then they were going back to Yankee Stadium the next week. So the Twins players were all like, hey, stop. They're going to throw shit at us now. What the fuck? Torrey Hunter said, quote, it's going to be a death trap for us. So, yeah. At one point, Knoblauch joked because they said there was a couple beach balls, that end up landing on the warning track. Usually the players will go hit them back in. Right. And they said, you knew better than to go get the beach balls. And he said, yeah, I wasn't in the mood for any beer. So he knew he'd get beer poured on him. He said, even after this, I won't say anything bad about the city. It's probably a bunch of 16-year-olds who don't have a clue who Chuck Knoblauch is. Maybe. Then later.
Or it's 30-year-old dudes that wish they could have played baseball.
And
they know exactly who you are.
And you're weak, and they're going to try to fuck with you now.
And you're 5'8".
And you're 5'8". Yeah, that's the other thing.
Which is a 6'3" fat plumber.
He probably still kicked their asses, though. He's a fucking athlete. And he's an angry little guy, too. He'll fucking punch you. He said, quote, it hurt. I mean, I'm human. I can't even give you any details. It was like an out-of-body experience. That's the part of my life that's like, really? It really meant that much? You're trying to hurt me, knowingly throwing a quarter or a marble or something at me? It's twisted. It made me bitter about Minnesota, definitely. Okay. It is fucking twisted. Yeah. Get over it. Right. It's a fucking game. Right. Relax. The fuck do you care? This guy wanted to leave 5 years ago. Right. Jesus Christ, assholes. So 2001 for the Yankees, he only hit 250. The throwing problems just moved to left field. He's just a different guy. Yeah. Wasn't the same guy anymore. He wasn't even hitting leadoff. He was down in the order sometimes. It was a mess. 9 homers, 44 ribbies, 38 steals, which is good. He got his legs back. $6 million, though, he makes. Wow. And now he's a free agent. Okay. Free agent, so the Yankees let him go because they're about done with him. He signs with the Kansas City Royals on December 18th, 2001. So he plays in 2002 with the Royals. They go 62-100. So,
if he thought it was bad in fucking Minnesota.
He just played in the World Series every year he was in New York.
Yeah.
He won 3 in a row and then lost the 4th and then goes and loses 100 games. That's wow.
That is a tough life.
Way different. Yeah. So 2002 Royals, just goddamn awful. Nobody there, too. 13th of 14th in the American League in attendance. Only 1.3 million fans over 82 games.
Wow.
That's brutal, man. Or 81 games. That's brutal.
What is even average?
You want to get 3 million. 3 million's a great year. But they got less than half of that.
That's like 12,000 people a game.
That's terrible. It's so bad. Chuck this year, he hits 210 over 80 games. 210. That's fucking brutal. 6 homers, 22 ribbies, 19 steals. Just not the same guy. He's done. That is his last year in the majors. So over his career, though, he's a 289 lifetime hitter, which is pretty damn good. 407 stolen bases, 98 homers, 615 ribbies. Not terrible. Really strong.
Respectable.
If it wasn't for those throwing problems, you'd go, man, that's people would remember him as a great player. Right. Not just, is that the short guy who couldn't throw to first base? That the short guy who hurt Keith Olbermann's mom? He makes $2 million this year, though.
Okay.
And so for his career, he makes about $42 million.
That is fantastic.
Not bad for a 5'8" kid from Texas.
Nobody expected him to make that kind of money ever.
No. He hooks up with a woman named Stacy at this point.
Yeah.
Doesn't marry her, but in Texas, those common law laws are thick.
That can ruin
so
you.
This ends up she ends up being a common law wife.
Yeah.
So I guess he marries Stacy, we'll say at this point. We got with her. 2005 they have a son. So he has his first son. Name? Jack.
Oh.
Hey,
how about that?
No junior.
Yeah.
Does not perpetuate a bad cycle.
Very
so
Texas.
Good for him. Jack. He's going to be Jack Knoblauch.
You betcha.
That is.
That's a car dealership.
That is Jack Knoblauch Ford. Come on down to Jack Knoblauch Ford. We're going to put you in an F-150. You're going to love it. Extended cab, you bet. Crew cab, no problem.
Right.
The biggest payload in the entire category, whatever the fuck it is.
I don't know. We got all the fucking selection. We've got all of them.
We got everything.
We got everything from lariats to the King Ranch. Come on down.
Oh my goodness, Eddie Bauer edition. Remember those in the 90s? They'd be like, why do they have Eddie Bauer cars? Who the fuck?
The Ford Lightning and the
old fart clothes guy.
and the Harley Davidson truck.
Oh,
what is that?
Get the fuck out of here.
Stop it.
Stop
being dicks. Just make a Ford pickup truck, you fucking assholes.
It's more douchey than Dickie.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's nothing on that looks like a Harley. It's a fucking pickup truck.
No,
Stop it.
A logo on there, and it comes with a truck.
Right.
And it comes with a bike.
Right.
That was the other thing.
Did it come with a bike?
Yeah. It was a truck and a bike.
No?
Yeah, it was a truck and a bike. But they charge you an extra $25,000 for the bikes. It's not like you just bought a truck and a bike. They just happen to put them in the same package together and make the truck sort of look like the bike. They'd have the paint jobs match and shit.
It's black and has the fucking chrome shit all over it. Dumb.
So,
the Ford Lightning pickup truck is the biggest fucking joke ever. It was fast as shit. But that's not what a pickup truck is.
That's really
a pickup truck is big.
Yeah,
it's not a.
Can you carry a bunch of shit really fast in it? Because I think that's the point.
I will move with you.
Can you carry 8 landscapers at 95 miles an hour in the back? Because that seems to be out here what I see trucks are used for.
Pickup trucks are used because your friend needs you to help them move.
Or that.
And I'm going to fill you full of pizza and beer, and then you're going to do 95 down the freeway.
Let's do this shit.
Fuck out of here.
Oh, my God. So, December of 2007, he's been retired for 5 years.
Yeah.
The Mitchell report comes out. Do you remember what that is?
No.
That was the whole report on steroids in baseball.
Yeah.
And it was a huge...
Fuck yeah.
This document, I fucking read a lot of it for this episode. Good.
It's everybody.
It's so much information. It was so much. At one point, I was like, I can't read all this anymore. I couldn't. It's so much.
The list of people alone is ridiculous.
Hundreds of pages, this whole thing.
It's a lot.
Now, according to this report, we'll narrow it down. Knoblauch and teammates at the time, Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit, were all customers of Clemens' personal trainer, Brian McNamee. Now, this is funny because Clemens totally denied it and called him every fucking name in the book. And then this guy sued Clemens for slander on everything when it came out that Clemens was fucking lying the whole time. So Pettit right away admitted to taking HGH. He said, I took it. Yeah, I took it for an injury and blah, 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 blah. While Clemens instead was Mr. I never fucking touched a thing. You're liars. He's a liar. They did all that rather than just everybody who just said, yeah, I did it. It was whatever. Everybody got over that shit.
Right.
Remember Giambi coming out and going, I did it? You know what? How long that fervor lasted? About an hour. Because he was just like, yeah, no, it was stupid. I shouldn't have done it. And they were like, yeah. He was like, yep. That's it. There's no denying it. He didn't catch him.
All the fervor ended as soon as one guy said, I didn't do it. Once all those guys, who cares what they did? This guy's saying he didn't do it, so we know he fucking did.
That's what I mean. So it was so fucking stupid. So, and Knoblauch, through this whole thing, nobody, like, Pettit said he did it. Yeah. Everybody who was named in this had made a statement except for Knoblauch, because Knoblauch's named in it too, and he's gone, man. He has no interest in baseball. He's not heard from at all. This whole fucking thing, there's multiple incidents, just a quick run through of this report of, I remember steroids found in a player's car in Boston who was like, there was a whole deal there. There was another one, steroids in a Marlins player locker, shipments to the Arizona Diamondbacks clubhouse in September of 2000. Look at that. Weird. Canadian border seizure of steroids in Toronto of October 2001. And a lot of these would be like a player's entourage guy would get busted, but you're 5'10", you weigh 160 pounds, and your buddy is playing in the major leagues and is 220 a solid muscle. I'm wondering who's taking those steroids you got there. So
I wonder why Luis Gonzalez hit like 68.
Hit 57 after hitting 21 his career high
and then
before
the
that.
Next year down to 18.
Yeah, that's
bizarre.
Pretty obvious what was going on there. For anyone from 98 to 2005 that had any aberration in stats, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Also, a bullpen catcher admitted to supplying steroids to 8 major league players. Steroid shipments. Rafael Palmeiro's positive drug test after he pointed at congressmen and said, "I've never taken. How dare you?" and all that shit. Jason Grimsley, he's the big one. He admitted human growth hormone use in 2006, and he told on a lot of people. Jason Grimsley,
really?
Absolutely, which is weird because he's also a good teammate. There's a story of him at one point. A player was accused of having a corked bat, so he snuck through the ventilation system into the umpire room to steal the bat out, so the guy wouldn't get in trouble.
Get caught.
Yeah, it came out years later that was Grimsley that did it.
That guy is a nice man.
That's a teammate right there. He literally went through the ventilation system and lowered himself from the ceiling to steal a bat.
Yeah, he crawled in like fucking
awesome.
Boondock Saints to steal a bat.
That's like cartoon shit. He's like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, who's crawling around with no shoes on.
It was Harry Crumming it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Also, then the Balco whole thing and the Balco grand jury and all of that deal, the Greg Anderson stuff with Balco,
That's when Mo Vaughn got caught.
That's when, all those guys got caught then. All the West Coast guys got caught.
That was a fucking heartbreaker, too, because as strange as Mo was, and he came in that sling, he was like, I'll be all right in no time flat. And then when this came out, I was like, he's going to be all right in no time flat because he's got some deer antler and some clear of the cream sitting in his closet.
The deer antler, I think that's legal
Is
still.
that the one that was legal?
Yeah, it's just some
that's
stupid
when they claim
horseshit
they
spray.
took.
Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah, McGuire going, I just took Andro.
Right.
Did you now? Okay. Wow, why does it only work for you?
Right. I was
no one
sitting
else.
in the corner chewing on an elk.
Yeah, that's all.
Is
right
that
on
what
his
healed
antler.
you?
Yeah, I had him in a headlock. Also, a guy named Kurt Radomski, who was employed by the Mets. Mm-hmm. He was a guy who distributed the steroids to somebody else, who would then distribute them to the players here. They said Knoblauch paid this Radomski, who was a former assistant strength coach, for HGH, and that HGH would be supplied by Brian McNamee, the personal trainer for a bunch of Yankees, including Clemens, Pettit, and Knoblauch. He was the guy who would give it out, and also he gave checks to Jason Grimsley. Jason Grimsley was like a middleman. Okay. He was, distributing, but he wasn't selling. He was just like, you want some, we all want some, so we'll all go in on it together.
I'm the guy. I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy, which technically is selling, I guess. Yeah. Also, McNamee told Mitchell that he got the HGH from Radomski for Knoblauch in 2001 and injected Knoblauch with HGH. Himself, yeah. The guy injected him. Radomski ended up pleading guilty to distributing steroids and laundering money. Now, also, right after this all comes out, Chuck is up for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no.
He wasn't going to get in anyway, but definitely,
a burner, though.
Definitely not going to get in. Up for Hall of Fame, he receives 0.2% of the vote. So
he got a vote.
He got a vote. Yeah. He talks about being named in the report. He says he wasn't angry, but he was, he said, quote, I have nothing to defend. I have nothing to hide at the same time. He described the Mitchell report as, quote, crazy and interesting, and added that what actually bothered him about being mentioned in the report is that, quote, I've got nothing to do with any of that. I mean, baseball, and I don't want anything to do with baseball. I love baseball, but I'm not trying to get a job in baseball. I don't have any friends in baseball. Baseball doesn't control my life anymore. So he's basically saying, I don't really care what they're saying I did 6 years ago in something I don't do anymore. It really doesn't affect me at all.
$40 million and gone.
Go fuck yourselves is what he's saying. Nobody likes me anyway.
Right.
Everybody, I hide because everybody fucking makes fun of me.
I got hit with a hot dog.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I put Keith Olbermann's mom in the hospital. You understand that? I'm the only guy to ever injure a sportscaster's mother during a game. It's never happened before.
Keith Olbermann's mom paid a copay because of me. That's all that I did.
So they asked Chuck about, there's a hearing on the Mitchell report, a federal hearing, and they ask him about it because they've talked about, he's going to have to appear and testify. And Chuck says, quote, I read my name in the paper and I see it in the news, but I haven't heard a word. I'm supposed to be somewhere, but I haven't been told where to be. So they asked him if he would talk to the committee, and he said, yeah, if I have to do that, then what are you going to do? Like, they fucking subpoena me. It's a federal committee, and I guess I have to do it. Now, the chief of the staff for the committee said the panel has left multiple telephone messages for Knoblauch to invite him to the hearing, and he's going, I haven't heard anything. I don't know. They said, are you mad about it? He said, mad about it? No. You know what? One of my strongest characteristics is not really caring what people think. I'm living my life. It's not going to change my life one way or the other. I'm not trying to get into the Hall of Fame. I got one vote, though. He got one vote.
He did get
one vote. He did ask the reporter, his only request was, please don't tell anybody where I live.
That's nice.
He's very private. He's like, dude, leave me come on. Like,
how did you get this place?
Yeah, how'd you find me? Don't tell anyone else.
Fuck out of here. Don't tell another person.
Yeah, they asked him about his hobbies. He said he's too busy for hobbies because he has a 3-year-old son and that's all he does. He says he owns a condo in Houston and a home outside the city, and that's all he would really say. So then they subpoena Chuck to testify. But they couldn't find him. They said they hadn't tracked him down, even though federal marshals were trying to serve him a subpoena because it's a House panel investigation. It's fucking Congress. You have to go.
This is what we spent money on.
We
had marshals running around the country
looking for Chuck Knoblauch. So stupid. Yeah,
who wants nothing to do with this.
Never have got involved in steroids.
Wow.
We don't care.
This
don't
is
care.
fucking ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Get involved with shit that matters. So
this post 9/11, mind you.
Yeah. This
Osama
is 6
bin
years
Laden
later.
is traipsing around the world.
I still have to take my fucking shoes off at the airport now, but fucking Knoblauch, they have money for federal marshals to track him down.
Unbelievable.
Unreal. So stupid. So Knoblauch here, he's trying to. They're trying to track him down. He eventually, when they didn't hear from him, they issued a subpoena for him, and they were looking for him, could never find him, even though Clemens and 80 other people had been served subpoenas on this whole thing. Then at some point, Chuck just changed his mind and contacts the committee.
Really?
And yeah, because he was clearly trying not to be found.
Okay.
And then he ended up contacting them and going, all right, when do you need me? And they said, quote, "We are pleased that Mr. Knoblauch has agreed to voluntarily participate in a transcribed interview or deposition with the committee." They withdrew the subpoena from that because he said he would do it. And then he ended up going in, and apparently he had to be honest. It's a deposition, so he went in and, was honest, and he had nothing to hide at that point because he didn't give a shit.
And it's over.
What do you care? Yeah, right. At that point. Later in 2008, Chuck and Stacy begin have problems, and they have to begin divorce proceedings because in Texas, if you're common law,
God damn it,
you have to legally get separated and divorced. So
that's fucked up.
It's fucking weird. That's weird. Very crazy. So he's having problems there. He's got the Mitchell report. Things were quiet for a long time. Now he's got this up his ass, and now he's having problems. And it gets worse on September 29th, 2009, when police are called to the Knoblauch home.
Oh boy.
This is not good. Houston police officer, a Rebecca Sosa, stated that Knoblauch's wife, Stacy, told her that Knoblauch had, quote, struck her with his hand on the face and then choked her with his hand by applying pressure to his neck with his hand, causing her pain.
Right.
So he choked her. He punched and choked her is what happened here. Harris County prosecutor Carrie Allen told the judge that Knoblauch assaulted his wife after an argument after he had been drinking heavily and taking Xanax at the same time. And a family friend witnessed Chuck beat and punch and choke his wife.
How about that?
So there's a witness there too.
That's
so he did this
good.
in front of somebody.
He's taking Xanax and he has energy
booze.
to fight?
Yeah, I don't know. Xanax and booze.
Yeah.
He's angry. Yeah, I don't think that's not usually. Xanax isn't usually a fighting word.
That's sleepy time.
Yeah, it's sleepy time, relaxy time. But you've kind of gone over the deep end when you're not only abusing somebody, that's over the deep end, but you'll do it in front of somebody. Ooh. That's when you've really fucking lost your mind.
You've done it a lot already.
Yeah, you forgot someone was there and you snapped.
Right.
Apparently, Knoblauch returned from his girlfriend's house.
Oh boy.
Home. And began arguing with his wife. Wonder why. Yeah. This is crazy. So apparently, Stacy was trying to take his car keys away from him when this happened. Yeah. She tried to take his car keys and he hit her and choked her. The family friend saw this, and the prosecutor said, quote, because she was fearful of him driving, she kept the keys because he was wasted.
Yeah.
And quote, and he assaulted her by striking her and choking her.
Yeah, but
so she tried to do the Henry Hill, you're not going out tonight, and throw the keys out the window in the front yard. And
God damn it, Karen!
God damn it, Karen! I'm still going to go out.
Right.
So that's exactly how he said it. So instead, Karen didn't. Henry Hill only the mobster didn't beat his wife at that point, where Chuck chose a more violent path than a gangster.
I'm struggling with why people do that. That's going to make them fucking insane.
Oh yeah.
Stay away from the keys.
Stay away.
I realize you could be saving somebody's life.
I think that's the thing. If the guy's wasted and he's going to go out and drive, and she's trying to not only probably save his life, but possibly somebody else's, she's trying to do a good thing, and he needs to fucking realize he's wasted and not drive. You dummy.
Yeah,
you fucking
a lunatic
asshole.
Like that.
Yeah, I guess you're
should sacrificing yourself for society's safety.
This can't be the first time this happened.
No.
In front of a person, too. I just don't see it.
She's had a black eye before from him.
So Chuck faces third-degree felony charges for choking a family member because they made a law in Texas that year that made it an extra felony to choke somebody. Because that's, you could kill them.
Yeah.
For choking a family member could land him up to 2 to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. So, yeah, new felony law at September 1st, 2009, that was, which was just made it.
Yeah.
A month earlier, and it's not a felony. So a judge rules that he cannot have any contact with Stacy as a condition of bail. It's $100,000 bail. He pays $10,000 bond. He cannot email, call, text, or stalk his wife, which you really shouldn't need to legally decree anyway. Right. That's like saying no killing anyone.
There's already a law for that one.
There's already a law. Don't do that. Not allowed to do that while charges are pending. The law requires, Texas law requires couples who are common law married to have formal divorce to legally separate.
That's awful.
Which is crazy. Now I don't know what's going on with the kid, if he can see his kid at that point or whatever. His attorney here, silver-haired, middle-aged white man extraordinaire named Don Cogdell, will always call out these assholes. Cogdell. He called the incident, this is an asshole, a dispute between two divorcing people and said the charges were not necessary or appropriate.
Wow.
I don't care if they're two people that were starting a fucking ice cream stand together. You can't punch and choke each other.
I mean, that's what he's paid to say, but that's a really fucking...
It's hard to say that in public.
Yeah, how do you say that out loud?
Yeah, he said, quote, "It's a rough time for both of them, and we hope to get this behind us as quickly as we can. We're sure it's all going to work out in his favor when it's all said and done."
I hope he just wrote that in a press release and didn't actually have to verbalize that.
Wow, charges are necessary or appropriate. Wow. So in a private thing, Knoblauch tells a friend of his that he'll tell a story. He said it never got reported, his story. He said it was a shouting and a shove, and that's all it was. But he says publicly he'll be content to let the verdict speak for himself. He says, for itself, he says, quote, "I'm comfortable with myself, and as long as my family knows the truth, I don't really care what the neighbor who I don't talk to thinks." Because apparently that's who was there.
Who called the cops?
The neighbor, yeah.
Okay.
Because I know who I am. I know what kind of heart I have. So that's what he's saying. March 16th, 2010, charges are reduced in this. They dropped the felony part of it, and he pleads guilty to misdemeanor assault on his wife here. He enters the guilty plea in exchange for deferred adjudication probation. Now, it's a 1-year probation, and successful completion of that means the assault would be expunged from his record.
Yeah.
So it will be totally gone. He's like a kid who fucked up once, but instead he's an adult who beat his wife. So it's not really the same.
It's crazy.
He's also fined $1,000. Woohoo.
They go light on
it's weird.
They go light on spousal beating.
Yeah.
But
in Texas? Strange.
They're real hard on common law marriage.
Oh, fuck
Jesus.
Yeah. That's hardcore.
That's crazy.
Wow. So 2011, Chuck gets remarried. Not to her. He marries Sherry, a woman here. They have a daughter together. Pretty quickly. In 2011, they have a daughter named Charlie.
Yeah.
The twins end up hosting.
That's damn near a junior.
It's almost a junior. Yeah. Well, it's a Leigh, whatever. But it's still pretty close to Chuck.
It's too close to Charles.
It's way too close to. His name is Edward.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's a good
but
point.
It's still no good.
It's still named after
no
him.
good.
Right.
It's still named after him. The twins in 2011 hosted a 20-year reunion of the 1991 World Championship team, and only 5 players weren't there. Steve Bedrosian, Carl Willis, Shane Mack, the dead Kirby Puckett, who really couldn't make it, and Chuck Knoblauch does not attend as well. Along with,
afraid of the hot dogs and beer?
I think he's now. Also, Chuck's wife was 8 months pregnant at the time.
Oh, there you go.
And he said heading north was not an option, but he said even he wasn't sure what he would have done without his wife being pregnant. He said he was uncomfortable, and he thought the attention of the reunion, he called it embarrassing to him, and he said, quote, "I don't know what the reception would have been, to be honest with you. What if I took my kids with me out there and I get booed by a whole stadium? What do I say to them? That was my biggest fear." Which makes sense.
Yeah.
You go, "Why does everyone hate you, Dad?" "Oh, I don't know. I didn't want to lose 100 games a year. That's why." Fuck, man.
What I would have said to my own kids is, that nice house we got? That's why they're pissed.
This is why.
We went somewhere else, and Daddy has 3 rings.
See these rings all over my fingers?
Right.
Yeah. See my whole handful of rings? He says, they ask him about the Mitchell report again, and he says, quote, "I didn't care about the Mitchell report. I was out of baseball. I did HGH. It didn't help me out. It didn't make me any better," which it didn't. It actually...
It may have ruined him.
It didn't hurt. It didn't help him at all.
He's got a good case face for ruining him.
Yeah, hitting it just fucked him up. Yeah. He said, I had the worst years of my career from a batting average standpoint, and I got hurt. So there was no good that came out of it for me. It was not performance enhancing for me.
So Keith Olbermann's
It wasn't.
mom.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't on steroids yet.
Not yet?
No, this is 2001. He was trying to do something, and he said those were his worst offensive years because he wasn't the same guy. He wasn't. Right. He's a guy who lays the bat on the ball. You don't need steroids for that. It's just you need to be in a good state of mind.
He was doing that just fine without it.
He's not a power guy, so it doesn't matter. Now, this is really weird. They go in this article. They talk about there's a condo that he owns, and in the condo there's boxes everywhere. Boxes line the walls. And he told the real estate agent, he gave her the keys and everything, said, yeah, sell this. And he said, it's all just junk. Just toss all that junk. Just get rid of it. She opened one of the boxes, and on top in the box was a gold glove. This is all his baseball shit. He just doesn't even care about it.
He said, throw it all out.
He said, throw all that junk out. It's just all junk.
Chuck,
toss it.
Give me a call, Chuck. I'll clean it out.
Gold gloves, all his stuff, his trophies.
Is there a yip ball in there?
Things in there. I'm sure there is. His wife said, quote, he doesn't like a lot of shine on him at all. He probably hasn't even been through that stuff. It's probably just been there from when it got sent there. It's never been unloaded from the box.
Unbelievable.
He just has all his baseball stuff is just in boxes. He called it junk and said, fucking toss it. Doesn't give two shits about it. Gold glove. Like that's
the thing that made you a millionaire.
I don't get that.
You don't care about it.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's just you did something, even the money, you did something well. Like,
I know who you are, Chuck.
Yeah.
Because of this.
Well, like Rod had awards, and I remember he had the Relief Man of the Year, which is a big like golden baseball glove, the Rolaids Relief Man, the best reliever in the league. Right. He had one of those, and he had that prominently displayed in his living room.
Fuck yeah.
He had the Major League Baseball Comeback Player of the Year award for 2003. He had that right in the middle of his living room on a table. He had those two things set out because he was proud of them.
He loves baseball.
And he loves baseball. And his walls had all jerseys of guys he liked, and he had a couple of old seats from when they remodeled Wrigley Field.
Oh, that's awesome.
He had seats from like 1908, those like, tiny little
flippers,
he had those in his living room.
Incredible.
It's fucking awesome. Yeah. His pool table, it wasn't felt. The felt on it was a picture of a 1998 Cubs game.
Unbelievable.
And you could see him in the bullpen down there.
Unbelievable.
It's pretty fucking cool. Yeah. Pretty
and
nifty.
Chuck's got that shit in boxes.
Chuck just said, fuck it, who cares? Super weird. 2012, Chuck and his new wife file for divorce. So that doesn't go real well for him.
Great.
That didn't go well at all. 2014, in July, the Twins announced that Chuck will be put into the Twins Hall of Fame. So they're going to re-embrace Chuck Knoblauch and Twins Hall of Fame. So he's going to go in there. He's got to be very proud. And then July 23rd, 2014, Chuck's wife, Sherry here, still his wife, ends up telling police, back with police again. She tells the police that Chuck grew angry when she chose to sleep with her child in another bedroom. Chuck grew very angry. He ended up assaulting Sherry, leaving a large bruise on her arm, a larger scratch on the left side of her face, and a knot on her forehead because he allegedly grabbed her and smashed her head against the wall and then threw a humidifier at her and hit her with it. So he literally...
Let's be honest. He was angry before you decided to sleep in the other room.
Yeah, and that's just something...
You wanted to sleep in the other room.
They were having a fight, and then he said, you said I'm leaving, and then he said, no, you're not. Right. And he fucking grabbed her by the back of the head, slammed her forehead into the wall, which is a crazy wrestling move, and then threw a fucking humidifier at her, which is a pretty big move here. They live in Texas. It's humid.
Is it full of water?
It's in Texas. It's always full of water. Jesus. You know how sticky it is down there? This is in July in Texas.
Ah, Jesus.
It's a humidifier, so it's got to be full of water. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
Right.
It's not even a dehumidifier. So, this is fucking terrible. He's arrested again. Again, he's $100,000 bond this time. He knew better than to choke this time, though. And he's released on a $10,000 bond. And now he's like, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Because he's starting to be re-embraced by, just society in general, and people are forgetting about the throwing, and they're like, oh, that poor Chuck Knoblauch, let's put him in this Hall of Fame, and people are asking him to be on things, and now all of a sudden he does this, and he's like, now what the fuck am I supposed to do? I was going to get back into baseball, maybe have some kind of career again, maybe I can coach, or maybe I can, his dad was a coach. He's very much into it. I'm sure he loves the game itself still. He wants to coach. He doesn't know what to do. He's fucking lost, man.
Yeah.
He's lost at this point getting out of jail. He goes home, and it's weird because that reporter's the only guy who knows where he lives,
Right.
and he must have given the address out. He must have, because there's a knock on the door, and it's not who he expects at all.
No.
It's Vince McMahon, chairman of the WWE.
Jesus Christ.
And he says, "How is it you've come to arrive here? What the hell is wrong with you, pal? Look at you. Look at you. You're pathetic. This is terrible. Look at you. You know what? It's all right. I'm going to make you a champion.
Yeah.
You're going to come work for me. I'm going to make you a champion. You're going to be a modern-day hillbilly. You're from Texas. You know all about it.
Jesus.
We're going to have you come down to the ring in an F-150. It's going to have mud all over it, all dirty, like you've been, I don't know, doing whatever the shit people do with cows. I don't know what the fuck
Harley
people do in the middle of this
Davidson
country. Badges all over it with chew spit dripping down your overalls. Yes, overalls. By the way, here's a pair of overalls. Put them on. And take your shirt off, for God's sake. Jesus Christ, pal, take your shirt off. What the hell is wrong with you? Get your shirt on, shirt off, overalls on, dip in your mouth and get in that F-150, pal. I'm going to make you a champion. Let's go. And poof, in a puff of brain damage and steroid needles, he's gone.
Holy
And
Christ.
Chuck is he doesn't know what's going on.
That was fun.
Vince is going to have new careers for people based on their life, and I think it's going to be a fun character for us. So Chuck's very confused.
Vince McMahon LinkedIn. What is that?
He's looking around. He's very, very confused about this. Take your shirt off, pal. What the hell is wrong with you? July 24th, the day after he's accused of assaulting his ex-wife, the twins say, never mind. You're not in the Hall of Fame anymore. Canceled him out of that. They said, that's okay. You're good.
The wife punching it the second time
it's
did
funny.
it.
Like, no, thanks. We changed our minds. November 2014, he tweets some crazy shit.
Yeah.
He says, quote, you know what? Let's pay tribute to all the drunk drivers in the world, all the domestic violent offenders. Yes, me. Is the nation sad? What the fuck does that mean?
That?
And then a little while later, he tweets, quote, we are all sad stories. I'm guilty. That's it. I will never be guilty of drunk driving. It's sad like everything else, but fucking stand. I don't know what that means.
Which one is worse, Chuck? A drunk driver or a wife
Apparently,
beater?
he thinks drunk driving. He says, I might beat my wife, but I'll never be guilty of drunk driving. Well, you would have been if you didn't.
Right.
If your wife didn't
throw the keys out.
Then he says a little later, he tweets, quote, up and take responsibility. Done. Cry no more tears. I stand up. It's my fault.
Is he writing a rock lyric?
I don't know what the fuck he's doing. It's a haiku, maybe, possibly.
Ozzy Osbourne songs?
If you put them all together, it's like 3 haikus, I think, is how it works. Ozzy Osbourne songs. In response, somebody on Twitter tweeted, quote, how drunk are you right now, LOL?
Yeah.
He responded, I'm not, asshole, which I thought was completely humorless. Honestly, I mean,
truly,
Jesus.
That's a great rebuttal.
It's a great, how drunk are you right now? See, you say that and get called. I feel bad for you. Yeah. You're the one who sounded like an asshole. I mean, sorry, you tweeted that shit. I just asked how drunk are you. I feel bad for this asshole and his wife.
On a scale of Judge to Billy Joel, how drunk are you right now?
Exactly. Fuck, man. He was right. This guy, not Chuck. So I feel bad for him. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Chuck Knoblauch, operations manager at Source HOV Statement Solutions in Des Moines, Iowa. Chuck Knoblauch, president at Bright Star Care of Shepherdsville, Kentucky. It's a hospital place. Chuck Knoblauch of Knoblauch Insurance Services, the owner. Here at Knoblauch Insurance Service, we stand firm on the 23 plus years of experience in the insurance industry.
All right.
Not a wife-beating bad thrower.
All of these could possibly be Chuck Knoblauch.
It's Chuck Knoblauch, director of operations for some restaurants in Chicago, here. And finally, Chuck Knoblauch, CFO, and this is actually our Chuck Knoblauch. Chuck Knoblauch, who's now going as a CFO of maddtalent.com at Mad Talent. He's the CFO and COO, also at Charlie Inc., which is his daughter's name.
How much does he hate drunk drivers that he named his shit Mothers Against Drunk Driving the same thing?
It's so weird.
What is he doing?
I don't know what the fuck his deal is, but he says he's the CFO of a financial services company and lists his education as Texas A&M. This is our guy.
Wow.
In the greater Houston area. August 18th, 2018, Knoblauch returns to Yankee Stadium for the 20-year 1998 championship team celebration. He arrives with 2 black eyes.
What?
He goes out on the field. I remember this. He had 2 fucking. It looks like someone just beat the shit out of him.
Amazing.
He had 2 black guys, not explained at all.
Not a word about it.
Wouldn't say what it was about. I'm
His
fine.
new
Don't
wife
worry
is
about.
Bigger than him.
I don't understand what's happening. Currently, he runs Knoblauch Baseball. It says, quote, on the website, Chuck Knoblauch began Knoblauch Baseball with the goal of elevating each player's game with knowledgeable coaching and instruction along with competitive gameplay. All coaches have college and or pro ball experience. So he's running like a baseball camp here. So that's what he's doing with the kids. Yeah, he's got a financial services company and he runs a baseball camp. And Chuck here, he says about his whole life and about his whole career, he says, quote, I was 5'8", you know? I had to have that. It had to be kind of nasty, kind of down and dirty. I'm not going to apologize for playing hard and being cocky. I was a little punk out there with all these monsters. I left it on the field. I wanted to be the best I could be, and I think I did that. That's why I don't have any regrets.
How about you apologize?
Probably is, besides beating your wife.
Right. How about you?
That's going to be a regret.
There's an apology that needs to be.
Maybe, yeah.
Right. Offer one to those 2 girls.
For baseball, no. Can't get enough of Chuck Knoblauch.
Holy shit.
You
there
can
are 2 ladies that have had an ass full.
You can follow him on Twitter at Chuck Knoblauch. Very simple. He has 56,700 followers, which is not bad. He follows almost 40,000 people, too.
Okay. He's that guy.
He's tweeted 24,000 times, so he tweets quite a lot. His heading here is "Losing is not an option!" 2 exclamation points, all caps.
So, girl.
And he lists his link here of madtalent.com. So Chuck Knoblauch is there. Now, also on eBay, you can get 1994 starting lineup figure.
Yeah.
It's a cool one. There's a bunch of them on there. This one's pretty cool and it's cheap too. It's him throwing, like jump throwing at second, like turning a double play with the little metal bar from second base up to his knee. It's awesome. $5.18 with $3.22 shipping. That's fantastic.
The last thing that Olbermann's mom saw.
Exactly. And then boom. And then a band stitches. Both on a baseball and in the doctor's hand. Chuck Knoblauch autographed ball certified, $36.91 with free shipping.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. And also an Orlando, the minor league team he was on, Orlando minor league game-worn full uniform.
The sun-raised uniform.
Pants, jersey, everything.
I want that.
Signed by Chuck Knoblauch, $999.95 with free shipping.
I might sell something.
I'll give you $50 for it.
I don't know. I might sell something.
I'll give you 100.
Game worn?
That's pretty fucking cool. Game worn minor league. Oh, it will absolutely fit you. If anyone buys that for Jimmy, if you're crazy,
I will go as Chuck Knoblauch for Halloween.
If you have more money than sense, Jimmy will wear that to a live show.
And then I will darken both my eyes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Will you wear that to a crime and sports live show?
Yes.
A Knoblauch uniform?
With black eyes.
There you go. So that's
absolutely.
What that is.
That's amazing.
That's the best shit. It's awesome.
Black eyes that I will bloody my knuckles.
That's it. How's it going to carry a humidifier around with you? Throw balls at old women? Carry a little pouch of baseballs just to chuck at old women. There you go. But if you hit them on purpose, then I guess it's bad.
I'll miss them.
There you go. Well, aim for something else. Go, hey, catch, and then throw to an old lady 5 feet away from him. Also, you can get Knoblauch baseball fan gear at the Knoblauch baseball site.
Okay.
So shirts are red, white, and blue, long sleeve and short sleeve in sizes large to 3XL, and fitted hats in red and blue, $25 each.
We will flood Twitter with pictures of me.
Oh, God.
Until Knoblauch responds.
That would be amazing.
Calls me an asshole.
That would be amazing. Holy shit. You fucking asshole. Sitting around in his jersey.
With 2 black eyes.
With 2 black eyes. Doing a live show. Too bad not at him. On him. That would be the only thing.
That would be amazing.
You get to wear a Chuck Knoblauch uniform.
Oh, fuck.
So everybody, that is Chuck Knoblauch.
Yeah.
That is the mess that is Chuck Knoblauch's life and what it's become.
Yeah.
And now that we've got that out of the way, the episode, that's important. But now we step into something different, everybody. The pageantry.
Yes.
You've heard of it. The Grammys were the other night, and that was terrible. Obviously, the Grammys are ridiculous. Any award show that tells Cardi B she's good at something is fucking completely irrelevant, obviously, right? I mean, they're stupid. There's the Oscars, the Pulitzers, the Nobel Prize, where people would do things for world peace and physics, pale in comparison to the pageantry, the importance, the glitter, and the glamour of the Scummie Awards. All right, now that we got that fancy music out of the way, don't you feel fancy? I'm going to straighten my bow tie. Is it straight, Jimmy?
It's good.
It is. Now, the Scummie Awards, as you may or may not know, are voted on by a distinguished panel. I mean, this panel is really some of the top names in both sports, business, some influencers just in life.
Sure.
In actuality, it is myself and my two dogs, Frankie and Benny, at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's a little bit different.
Joe Rule didn't get a vote?
He did not get a vote at all. So they did. And Frankie, she's a tough one. She's a tough judge. So you never know here. First award here goes to, it's the but not nearly as bad as award. This is the award with for the person we feel most bad for the name that's hardest to match. Right. They have that name, and they're the most fucked. They're the most non-Googleable because everything is the other person.
Shows up a terrible monster.
This one, I was shocked that this was on there. It was Maddie Nykänen.
Oh, yeah.
Who's a supervisor at Nokia in Finland. And also a psychopathic skier who's on a North Korean postage stamp and who died recently. Right? Was that 2 weeks ago or something he died? So that's...
and pussy's always on his mind.
Pussy's always on his mind. What are you thinking as you fly through the air at 100 miles an hour on skis 50 feet above the ground?
Well, Pussy's always on my mind.
Pussy's always on my mind. So Maddie Nykänen, you poor bastard at Nokia in Finland.
I guarantee he's never said anything as iconic as that phrase.
No, no one has. Jesus Christ. Next, we have the Golden Gilretha Award.
Yes.
And this is, again, most of the awards are, there's three nominations and we pick, but these are two that are like achievement awards. We just give these out. These not nearly as bad at. And the Golden Gilretha is to the woman who most against her own interests and even that of society's still stand by their man.
Blind support
against all logic, science, anything. They stand by their morals. It doesn't matter. This year's award can only go to one person. That is Tamika Smith, who is Travis Smith's wife, who even after he not only cheated on her with 1 million girls around the world, in Canada and the U.S., but gave them HIV and was having sex with her unprotected with HIV without fucking telling her. And she still stayed with him.
That's right.
And stood by him in court and talked shit about the other girls
women,
who he was infecting with HIV. Tamika Smith, Golden Gilretha Award goes to you. There was no competition. There was a couple who were like, whatever, no competition there.
She takes the AIDS cake.
Wow, the AIDS cake is right. Next now we get into the awards where there's competitions. This is, I have a new one too, a new category this year you're going to like. Every year I add one. I'm going to add one here and there. First up, the Skip Bayless Award for the biggest fucking liar of anybody we've dealt with in the past year. Because Skip Bayless is a liar whose only talent is arguing with black people on television and making me want to punch him in the forehead.
Somebody recently sent me some clips of him of his new web thing that he does with fucking
infuriating.
with the Kevin Hart. They sit in ice tubs and then he picked another black guy to argue with.
That's all he does. He goes from one to another. He went from another station. He went to Fox and he's like, I need a fucking black guy. I don't have Stephen A. Smith anymore. I guess get me Shannon Sharp. But it's like, what the fuck is it about this guy arguing with black people?
It's his favorite.
And he's never right.
No.
Never. He's never right. It should be Skip Bayless losing arguments to black people. That should be the name of the fucking show.
He's wrong at arguing with Stephen A.
Fucking
Smith.
Asshole. Yeah, who's a complete tool.
Idiot.
Yeah, he's a tool. Shannon Sharp is smart. He's going to fucking rip you. So the Skip Bayless Award for the biggest liar goes to, let's see here, number one, Travis Smith, previously mentioned, who went around the world, around at least North America, having sex with women, lying to them, leading double lives.
Right.
He had multiple women who he thought were like their fiance,
right.
And he was actually having sex with bunches of different women, giving them HIV.
That's bananas.
And everything else. It's crazy. Number two, Josh the Fluke Grispy, MMA fighter who blamed his violence and domestic violence on ghosts in the house.
I don't remember that.
He blamed supernatural forces for his domestic violence.
Okay.
He said he wouldn't have beat his wife up, but the ghosts made him. That's a liar.
Is that
I'm
the
sorry.
fellow? Is that the fellow with the? No, that was Mayhem. With the guns in the Tupperware. And shit.
There's a different story.
I remember this one. God damn it!
The spirits told him, and that the house was haunted, and his wife she was also up for the Golden Gilretha Award because she backed this thing.
She stood by the ghost.
The ghost made my husband beat me.
Jesus
which
Christ.
That was if Travis Smith wasn't spreading HIV, I would say fine, but
if
you
he was
lost
just fucking a bunch of girls, that's a different story.
Grispy wins it, his wife. And finally, Bob Probert, who after there's cocaine found in his underwear, he said, "That's not mine."
That was when we made the rule. Anything in your underwear,
belongs to
that's
you.
yours.
That's yours. Doesn't matter what happened. You should know this inventory of your underpants. You should always have stock of the inventory of your underwear at all times. Sorry. Winner here, if we get a drum roll.
Yes.
Winner, Bob Probert.
Absolutely.
It was in his underwear. That's a huge lie. I'm sorry. You can't get a bigger liar than that. I just pulled this out of your ball sack. Not mine. Okay. Someone sneak it into your nutsack?
I oftentimes store my friend's shit in there.
Yeah, that's how it happens here. New award. We have a new category this year. This is the most apt nickname award. This is the nickname that most fits the person given to this nickname.
Okay.
So we always have these nicknames, and some of them are right on the money.
Yeah.
Number one is Adrian the Problem Broner.
That is a
pretty good nickname for him, because you'd see him and you go, this guy's a problem.
He's a real problem.
He is. He's the problem, as a matter of fact. Jake the Snake Roberts.
He is a snake.
He's a slithery, snaky,
Holy
lying,
shit. Yeah.
scumming, drinking, boozing, drugging, yoga doing motherfucker. And finally, Roy the Weasel James, who was a part of a huge train robbery
What
and then
is this?
shot his father-in-law.
Yeah.
He's done a lot here. So those are great nicknames all
I am impressed
around.
with this category.
This is a good one. I was impressed with this myself. I was happy to come up with this one. Winner of this category, drum roll, Adrian the Problem Broner. Adrian gets an award tonight. I was hoping he'd walk away with something, because if he didn't, he'd cause a complete. Thank you, Adrian. No, Adrian, you'll get your awards after the show. Adrian, you get.
Sit down.
The hard thing about these awards is to have all of these people here. It's dangerous for us, and they get angry when they don't win. So,
well, we didn't want to give one to Bob in memoriam.
That's the problem. He gets his wife's here to accept on his behalf. Thank you very much for that.
Robert, thank
you. You can put that on his grave. That's fine. Good deal. Yeah, she's going to put it on his grave, so that's good. Next award is the Top Silver-Haired Middle-Aged White Man Award of the year. Number one, and every year.
Coveted.
Every year. It's a coveted award. They're trying for it in every sport.
Out of their way.
In every part of the world, every continent, everywhere. Number one, and he's been nominated every year, Bob Arum, the biggest scumbag in boxing, by far, responsible for much robbery and brain damage, I'm sure. Number two, Eric Bischoff of WCW Wrestling, for putting up with Scott Hall while he was drinking and getting arrested all the time. So much so that instead of getting rid of him or sending him to rehab for the 400th time, they just used his drinking as a storyline.
As a reason for him to be wobbling.
For a reason, Well, if you're going to be drunk anyway, let's just tell everyone you're drunk, and that's part of the story, and they won't believe you're drunk. That's what they did. So, nice job fucking taking a man and ruining him.
Way to enable, dickhead.
Yep. And finally, Bob Geigel, who you might not remember. We learned about him in the Bob Sweetan episode. He ran a territory of wrestling where he employed Grizzly Smith and Bob Sweetan.
Oh, Jesus.
Was asked, he actually had to stop running sending Grizzly Smith, because Grizzly Smith was a road agent. He had to stop sending him to a town because the sheriff there said, if you send him there, I'm going to arrest him because he was molesting girls there. Not only that, this isn't like a out of left field thing. Grizzly Smith is a known molester, and Jake the Snake Roberts came from Grizzly Smith molesting his mother at 14 years old. But instead, he still kept him employed. Winner here by far, hands down, Bob Geigel.
Absolutely.
For keeping a known molester on staff. Good work, sir.
And
enabling a molester to go around to, and Jim Ross talked about this in his book, it's so dangerous. He enabled him to go around to these towns. It's the same towns every week. So the kids and everybody, they know where the wrestlers stay. So they go to the hotels to get a glimpse and get an autograph and all that shit.
Give them a good schedule of when they'll be there.
And then he comes in and swoops in. It's the same ones all the time. Disgusting.
God, Jesus.
If there was more info on Grizzly Smith, I'd love to do an episode on him.
I wish he was still alive.
So do I. What a piece of shit.
Love to give him a call.
Love to give him. Let's give him a little ring-a-ding-ding.
Hey,
here.
old man, let's chat.
Let's have a chat here. Now, dumbest scumbag. This is just the stupidest. For natural, unnatural, decision-making, doesn't matter here. This is just your actions, show how dumb you are. First off, John Daly, who just did the stupidest shit ever I could think of. Just like the Hooters parking lots and just a dumb shit. Just dumb. Everything he does, you go, why are you doing that, stupid? He goes out of his way to fuck it up, Second, Jose Canseco.
Yeah, he is. Oh my God, is he fun?
Who is fun, and I don't know if he's crazy or stupid or what it is.
It's a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both, or delusional. Number 3, and this is a deep cut here, Brian Taylor. Yankees pitcher drafted, had the world at his feet, and instead of pitching for the Yankees, he decided to hang out in trailer parks and get in fights and ruin his shoulder.
That's right.
Which is pretty fucking stupid.
He fought somebody for his brother.
Outside of a trailer in North Carolina.
Awful.
And ruined his shoulder forever. What a complete fucking idiot.
Which one's the dumbest?
And then got busted for drugs later on. Winner here, drum roll, Jose Canseco.
Yes.
I'm going to give it to him. Number 1, because he's still going. He's still being stupid.
His actions speak louder than the words he can't spell.
That's most recently claiming to be able to live 150 years.
How?
And we don't know. Did he reveal it finally?
He said you're the secret to a long life and life longevity is to sleep in below freezing temperatures.
What?
Yeah, that's the secret.
What?
That's how you do it.
No.
You have to sleep.
You get hypothermia unless you put a bunch of shit on, and then you're not sleeping in below freezing temperatures. You're sleeping in whatever temperature you make your body.
That's the secret to a very short life, Jose. Or at least missing digits.
I'm so happy he won this competition, because I didn't even know that, and that takes the cake of anything else he's done. And also telling us that aliens are teaching us time travel, even though we haven't talked to any aliens.
Won't listen.
And we won't listen. You know how it goes. They're just bad, blah, blah, blah. Aliens are always squawking in your ear.
And he wants to be like the chief of Space Force or some shit like that. He wants to talk to Donald Trump.
Fucking insane. He's out of his mind.
He's a lunatic.
Longest fall from grace is the next category here. And this was a tough one, because we had there was a few obvious ones. First up, we're going to go Tanya Harding in a different way, because she wasn't wealthy when she fell from grace, but she was beloved.
She was a household name.
And thought of as like a pixie, basically. Thought of as this perfect little thing, and then she turns from that into this violent white trash, hubcap throwing, chain smoking, fucking hot sauce slinging lunatic. So number 2, we have John Daly, who went from being a super wealthy champion of everything to just not even being able to fit in his golf pants.
He's a fat tin cup.
He's a fat tin cup. And third, Hollywood Henderson.
Oh.
Okay.
Was that this year?
That was this year. That was this year. Yes, it was. Hollywood Henderson. Now, winner. It was going to be Hollywood. But he is disqualified for winning the lottery later on. So he fell from grace. High grace. Face fucking an invalid in a forcible face fucking.
That's right. Right.
That's falling far from being in the Super Bowl and all of that. But you win the lottery a couple times, you're disqualified. I'm sorry. So the runner-up is going to take it. Tanya Harding. Sorry, no one was that beloved and turned into someone who everyone not only laughed at, but also kind of disliked.
Yeah. And then she took now she has like a 9 to 5.
Yeah, now she's sitting on her porch while people take pictures of her smoking cigarettes, wearing Mickey Mouse slippers.
Drinking
coffee like everybody else. This award here is the Cracked Egg Award for the most brain damage. For the most brain damage. This is a new one last year.
Just for brain damage.
Just for brain damage. This isn't for stupidity. This is for actual brain damage. Cracked Egg Award. Number 1 here, Josh Grisby, for claiming that spirits told him to beat his wife up. Number 2, Bob Probert, for lots of reasons. If you just listen to the episode, there's so many reasons. He was brain damaged as fuck.
He was.
He had some issues. Number 3, Adrian the Problem Broner. There's no proof he has brain damage, but he has to have brain. What the fuck else causes that?
Pretty evident.
It's pretty evident. But we're going to give the winner here, Josh Grisby. Josh Grisby. He wins another with the spirits telling him to do horrible things. Now we have most likely to have a second Crime and Sports episode. There's so much crime. Number 1 here, Tammy Sitch, Sonny, because she keeps going. She goes through periods of a mess, and I haven't seen her doing any DDP yoga or anything.
You know what my favorant part about her story is that so when we ended, she was in prison and she was supposed to be getting out soon or whatever. And there was like an Instagram page up. And she was like answering shit. So we assumed she was out. She was definitely not out. That was somebody else running that. There were several pages.
It's crazy.
And then she just recently got out and she's right back to the whole like pay to watch me fuck myself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's going to be back. She's back. Strong contender for another episode. Number 2, Adrian Broner. He's out. He was in another fight. He's still getting his brains knocked in. He's just lost a fight.
And he's still a lunatic.
He's still crazy. Acting out and getting paid money, so he's going to act crazy. He's
screaming, fighting for the hood,
shitting money into the toilet. Remember, look, I even shit 20s in a fucking Popeye's chicken bathroom. It was fucking nuts. So he's out there. And number 3, we haven't been mentioned yet, Milton Bradley. He's crazy as he's a fucking shithouse rat. He's crazy as a shithouse rat. He's a fucking loon. He's out of his mind, and he's out there. I don't see how he's not going to no one can be that crazy and then just be like, I'm fine,
I can pull it together now.
Meds maybe, but he'll get off them. There's a problem with him. Winner of this, and this is hands down, the panel was absolutely unanimous. Even Benny agreed, and he's kind of a prick. He's a little contrary. Adrian Broner. It's absolutely Adrian Broner. You can't do that here. Now we have the person you'd least want to date your daughter award.
These are so gross.
These are all gross. Number 1, Bob Hewitt, a tennis player who molested his students for years and years and years. Horrible person, disgusting man. Number 2, Darren Sharper, who drugs women all over the country and rapes them at will, and has like a whole system of the way he does it, and the whole drug hookup, and the Bill Cosby of the Super Bowl. We call him. It's kind of like the Phantom of the Super Bowl. And finally, Travis Smith, who will give your daughter HIV. This is a tie. Tie here between Sharper and Smith.
Absolutely.
With Smith, it will be voluntary, at least. He doesn't rape, but it is tainted with HIV. So that's going to get you bad. And then Sharper, good God, watch out. Don't drink anything.
Good Christ.
So they're going to be a tie there. I don't want either one of those. Next is the, only a couple more left here. Next is the Please Turn It Around Award. This is the award of the person.
Somebody you're rooting on?
We want to get it together and come back and take a good shot at this that we kind of liked, and we're like, come on, man, get it together. Turn it around. Last year it was Ron LaFleur was the winner. This year, number 1, Jake the Snake Roberts. Turn it around, Jake. You gave me much joy as a child. I'd like to see you turn it around.
He's doing his best.
He's trying. I don't know. Number 2, Brian Taylor. I want to root for this guy. He came from nothing. He was like a Toe Nash. He came from nothing. His parents were dirt poor. He had complete... And he just
nobody
blew
really
it.
knew much of him. Is that
true? No, he blew it, man. He just what do you mean before he
like got to the minors and stuff?
No, I mean he was he was in high school. He was highly touted. He was 100th mile an hour throwing left-hander. So good. You want him to turn it around. I felt bad for him. Number 3, Andre Rison.
Yes.
Because he was fun.
Yeah.
I want him to turn around. I just saw him on the Deion Sanders documentary.
Did you?
That they just did, the 30 for 30. Yeah. They interviewed him on there. He was looking good. But then I saw him on YouTube doing some weird fucking interview at like a fast food restaurant with some people who didn't have their shit together.
Like a stretched out collar on his shirt.
It's a disaster. So Andre Rison there, winner of this award. Brian Taylor.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Brian Taylor, and he was just so poor. I want him to turn it around. Got a rough deal. And 2 more awards left here. 1 more, and then the big one.
Yeah.
The big one. The Scumbag of the Year award. Scumbag of the Year award.
That's a big award.
It's a big award. Yeah. The next award is the most likely to find and kill me. And you. Who knows? But probably me for putting together the information on them. I would imagine they'd be madder at me. Here, most likely to find and kill me. Number 1, Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
Because he killed 4 other people. Why wouldn't he fucking kill me?
You don't mean nothing to him.
Harold Howard, the psychopathic Canadian MMA fighter with the fucking mullet, who looks like you'd answer a knock on the door and he'd be standing there and you'd see a fist in your face. It'd be the next thing. I'm afraid of that man. Number 3, Tanya Harding. I don't trust her. I don't trust her. And yes, she's small and all that, but she will hire someone to fucking do her dirty work for her. So
I could see Tammy Sitch being pissed, but she wouldn't be able to.
She'll be too fucked up to do anything about it.
She'll be too fucked up to drive.
Tammy will get on the phone and start giving instructions. Yeah. Tammy will run into a telephone pole on the way to come over to fuck with me. So it's Anthony Smith, Harold Howard, and Tanya Harding. Winner, Harold Howard. Yeah. That fucking ginger mullet, I'm afraid of that. It's very scary. Anthony Smith is in prison, so that would be hard for him. And Tanya Harding
doesn't have gas money.
She was going to say she doesn't have the money to travel down here. She'd be like, how much is Greyhound to Phoenix? Damn it. Harold Howard, I don't know. I think she's going to find me.
Hubcap.
I'll try. Got one. Half a pack of cigarettes. All right then, sweetie. Next up, Scumbag of the Year.
Yes.
The most prestigious award. Now, remember, everybody, this is not just about what you did.
Yeah.
It's about how you did it.
Yeah.
The aplomb, the elan that you put forward in this. A complete disregard for decency and general human nature. We're looking for pure scum here, everybody.
The finesse of it.
The finesse of the scum. Okay, here's our contestants. Yeah. We have Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
He murdered 4 people in a very brutal way, mind you. Also, people were tortured. Yeah. Bad things were done to these people.
That's right. They were stuffed in trunks and shit and driven around L.A.
and burned and fucking,
it was terrible.
Tortured and tormented. Darren Sharper, who drugged and had an actual system to go around and have this weird thing where one guy got the drugs for him and he would drug these women and he called it the potion. And someone would go, is she okay? And he'd be like, she's just about ready. She's on the potion. Yeah. That's disgusting.
Gross.
What a piece of shit. And number 3, Bob Bruiser Sweetan for abandoning his family out of nowhere, disappearing for years, and reuniting with them only so he could molest their daughter.
Jesus.
What a piece of shit and a scumbag. This is a tough one, man. This is,
where do you lean? Where do you land?
The panel, it took a long time. There was conferences. They went through 3 different rounds of voting. There was lots of paper being torn up here. Lots of paper.
Lots of peroxide poured down people's throats to get them to throw plastic up.
Come on, guys. Let's go here. The winner and a squeaker. This was the tightest one of the night. Bob Bruiser Sweetan for molesting his own fucking daughter.
That's
that
horrible.
Makes it 2 straight years in a row where a wrestler that molested his daughter is Scumbag of the Year. I get it. Going around the country and raping women, scummy.
Horrible.
As bad as a thing as you can do. Killing 4 people, taking people off of this earth. The one guy had like a family and 5 kids. They were talking about his wife had no money and he disappeared and all this shit. Terrible. But to zero in on your own daughter as your predatory, as your prey, and do this is a complete disregard for anything decent, anything in human nature. Bob Bruiser Sweetan, congratulations. Scumbag of the Year. Very prestigious.
Well
My
done,
God.
sir.
Well done, Bob.
Way to be a shitbag.
You've really been a real shitbag. We're very proud of you. Everyone after the show, come get your awards up here. You know where they are. Put your weapons away. I am wearing a Kevlar vest, so good luck with that. I'm wearing like a shank-proof prison vest. I'm like a riot, like a response guy in prison. I bust in with the shield through the cell. Like Omar in prison on The Wire. I was like waiting to get shanked. Putting phone books on him. He taped phone books to his chest in prison. Not really. I guess he had a baggy shirt on, and some guy tried to stab him, and it went through.
And the yellow pages saved his life.
It got to about fucking H, and then saved his life.
That's awesome.
Like, man, L would have been uncomfortable. So that is this 2018, because that's the awards we did. Scummie Awards for this year. That is Chuck Knoblauch. Holy shit.
You know, you could have thrown Chuck in for...
you could have. Well, he's next year
most likely
now.
to find you. Oh, yeah, next year.
Now he's next year. He's on the list for next year. That's a tough thing. The guys who do it on the day, they fall next year.
Yeah, but you've got a cock. That's gonna decipher whether or not he wants to fight you.
That's true. See, he hasn't fought anyone with a cock. Right. He's only fought women, which is common in our things here. If you like that, please, the way you can show us is to get on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. It's not for our ego. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can do all sorts of shit. You can find tickets to live shows for Small Town Murder, like February 21st in West Palm Beach, Florida, at the West Palm Beach Improv.
Shit, yeah.
Come out and see us there. Get all your crime and sports and Small Town Murder merchandise. Leggings are up. Murder pants are in. Get your murder pants. We got them up there. So that's a lot of fun. Also, you can donate. You can be one of our heroes. You can also follow us on social media, which is at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook. It's at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Follow us all from the site. Another thing you can do from the site, like we said, is donate to us. You can be one of our superstar, fabulous, fantastic, wonderful best friend producers, who we're going to talk about in just a moment here. You can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or heading over to PayPal. You can use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. It's also a way to get a hold of us to make a one-time donation. Both those links are available from shutupandgivememurder.com. With that being said, Jimmy, it's been an eventful time.
Yeah, it has.
Good episode, Scummie Awards, and now I need to hear the list of my favorite damn people on the face of this earth. Jimmy, smash me over the head with that goddamn list right now.
This week's executive producers are Leslie the Irish Witch Watch? No. Leslie the Irish Wristwatch. Damn it. Leslie the Irish Witch. I'm not going to do it.
She did that on purpose, I think.
Jeffrey Anderson donated for Christmas, and
wow.
I apparently missed it. I
know
I got his name
in there,
brother.
But
I didn't get Leslie. So Leslie the Irish Wristwatch. What in the fuck? Why is that so hard?
Thank you, Leslie, with the hard name.
Happy birthday. No, Merry Christmas. That's what it was for. That's what they wanted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
And I blew it.
Well,
Leslie Henderson, because I can't say. Happy Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Joshua Keller, Don Iverson. Is that yes?
Alan's brother?
I think so.
Good.
It's a girl. Actually, it's a DAW.
Sister.
Yeah, it might be his brother, and they just spelled it like a lady.
Alan's estranged wife.
Just Z. Shannon Russell, Brian Price, Jefferson Suchman Shelley Vanderberg donated twice on Patreon, and then over on PayPal. That's the one.
Wow.
Thank you very, very much.
You.
And Nicole Trudeau. You guys really make everything.
You really help.
It's really impressive, and we can't thank you guys enough. Thank you.
We're blown away by it, and we're just thank you so much, honestly, for everything.
Monique Con Nguyen, it's the Asian Nguyen.
Nguyen?
Right, that's the one.
Yeah.
Is that Asian Nguyen? I don't know what I'm doing.
No, you don't. You don't have any idea what you're doing.
Appleberry Pocky, Hunter Perry, Jordan Bennett. She's getting tattoos like crazy, and then having the tattoo artist listen to us while it happens.
Well, thank you.
Pretty badass.
Spread the word.
Kelly McAlpine, Thomas Smith, Rick Sikorsky, Patty Trifone, James Martyr. I don't know if it's somebody calling you a martyr or if that's just their name.
Fuck it.
Kim Grell. Jesus, what?
I'll jump on that grenade, bitches.
Kim Grell, Ross Lavsa, John Nagel, Dave Jocelyn, Ken Slattery, Kate Watson, Jacob Harshman, you're going to like this, the Lino Lakes Pronunciation Fund in support of Willamette, or Willamette.
That's clever.
Take that.
I like it. That's clever.
Aaron with no last
fucking
name.
Cocksuckers.
Chris Courier, Keith Cole, Mitchell Crittenden, Jesse Hartman, Justin Miller, Daryl Donahue, Philip Close. Philip, is that you?
What's with all this gun, man?
Philip, you changed, man.
You changed.
Brendan Abels, Janice Hill, Adam Cummings, Heather Williams, Ruth Ejankowski, I think that's right, Matt Sledge, Stacy Langto, Mojave, John Mott, Andy Coates, Anthony Canella, Jake Martinez, Jamie Pfluger, which... That's a tough one. I think I got it right, though.
Yeah,
Krista Walker, Bailey Cox. That just sounds like something from a Dr. Seuss book. Jamie Julian, times 2, so she donated twice. Thank you, Jamie.
Appreciate it.
Sarah Kunkel, no, it's Nukel. What is that?
Knuckle?
I think it's Nukel. Damn it. Kinkle? Canucle.
Canucle.
D with
Knuckle?
D, just D.
D. Appreciate
the letter D. Gary Howard, Christy. Yes, Christy Larson, Autumn Talley, Patrick Cunningham, Haley Marble, Ben Scarnage, Scranage. I'm so dumb.
I love it.
Valerie.
Awesome.
Valerie Vega or Vegia. I put like an I there. Shit, it might be Vega. Devin Letko, Valerie Galloway, Matt Dietrich, Sherry Sonis or Sovis. I don't know if I put a V or an N. I think it's Sovis. I think that's right. That Abigail Manning, Tara Jenkins, James Lear, Jessica with no last name, Panhandle Games, Kevin Gately, Sophia Trick, and Erica Zalinardo.
Hey.
Yep, got it.
Hey.
Regina Kudajarov, Lisa Beans, Rachel Storr, who also sent me a birthday card. Thank you. And you guys send in birthday cards. It's incredible.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Really nice.
Taisha McPherson, Ruiz, it's Russ Linderman, Shantae.
Tried to make him Spanish.
Shantae Wright, Leslie Woodruff, Ben Moore, Melissa Moss, James Hires, Laura Mickelson, Kimberly Vautour, Janet Home. I think that's right. Antonio Meneses, Lauren Demarath checking in. Thank you, Lauren. Megan Allen, Elise Carter, Tess Devine, Sam Wade, Yoma Mapus.
Whoa.
I don't know if that's supposed to be dirty or if that's just, I don't know what that dirty is. It does. Reagan Shalkley, Ty Yeager, Beth Beyer, Tina Elder, No Ruiz, Corey Taylor, Miriam Lene Hale, Brian Whitney, and Jacqueline Osborne. I'm an idiot. Thank you guys so much for making me look real dumb today.
Thank you, everybody. You're the goddamn shit. Thank you so much. We say it all the time, but really, honestly, every dollar, every dime really counts a lot. It does. And you guys make this show worth doing. Yeah. You really do. I mean, from a financial standpoint, we have fun anyway, but, it's just, we always say it, Small Town Murder is a lot more listeners. It's just kind of a more, more mainstream friendly, I guess, thing. But I don't know. Seems like it's pretty much the same thing. But we thank you guys so much for always supporting us and always being there for us on Crime and Sports and making this such an important show to you. It makes it so we want to do it because we know you guys like it. So it feels really great to do that. Thank you so much. And if they wanted to thank you, Jimmy, how could they get a hold of you?
You can find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks, and it's on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and Facebook is full. It's over. That's I can get no more friend requests.
Nice.
So you can follow, and I accept messages all the time. So thank you guys for doing that. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Jimmy P is Funny, or you can copy and paste my last name from the show description because you'll fuck it up if you try to spell it, and you'll go, "Where is this asshole?" Never mind, it's not worth it. So rather than get frustrated, just copy and paste from the show description. Do that, and come back and see us all the time because we're going to keep doing this damn show over and over. And there'll be a next year Scummie. We'll have a 4th annual Scummie Awards next year, and it's going to be fun. And who knows who the candidates are going to be, the contestants. The list is long.
I might have a Chuck Knoblauch uniform by then.
You never know. You might have a Chuck Knoblauch uniform. We'll see how we do. That's great. But live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey. Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder, follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.